Hello, welcome, and good evening, everybody. It is time for the final Rocket League stream here at AEL of the year 2024. It's grand final day. My name is Formal. Joining me is Morgie as we're going to be giving you our Open Series final, our third place match from the Elite Series, and then, of course, our grand final matchup between Griffith University and the University of New South Wales. Morgie, I cannot be more keen for tonight.
No, me neither, Formal. I am lucky to finally be here casting the playoffs or the finals of the Elite Series. Missed out last season, got to fill in a couple of times, but everything leads up to this. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun little narrative as well. Do we see that undefeated team finally get toppled by a Griffith University with some players, possibly playing their last ever games in AEL? It's going to be a lot of fun, but of course, none of this would be possible without our wonderful sponsors.
Of course, you are correct. We have to thank our wonderful sponsors who make all of this possible. We have AGON by AOC, the gaming monitor partner, who provide the best in-class monitor solutions for gaming and all other needs. And of course, if you're hungry, we have our noodle partner, Indomie the Noodle partner, made with high-quality flour and select ingredients and spices. A plate of Indomie mee goreng will certainly brighten up your day. Try any one of the flavors available today at your local grocer, or of course, you can go over to indomie.com.au.
Thank you to all of them. And of course, thank you all for tuning in as well for what is going to be, hopefully, a great night. As mentioned before, we're not going to be doing one, not two, but three best of sevens, just like last week if you were here before. And taking a look at how we got to this grand final day. I mean, last week, no game sevens, Morgan. I was a little bit disappointed by that. We never went to Champions Field.
I know it was a little disappointing, but in saying that, we did have some exciting matches. We did have some expectations met and some surprises as well. UNSW, there is not too much to say there. Again, this team has done incredibly this season, and last week 4-0ing QUT to go into this grand final today, still with a clean sheet, is quite impressive. And then, of course, our other semi-final for the Elite Series, we saw Griffith and UOM battle it out. That series was bound to be a little bit more tight, but again, as Formal said, we did not get a Game 7. Griffith did beat UON 4-2.
Yeah, and arguably a little bit of an upset there as well. Fortunately for UON, they'll have a chance for redemption in that third place match. But for us right here, of course, before we get too deep into the Elite Series, we've got to go to our Open Series final. And this should be a fun one. UTS, a team that arguably could have been a top four squad, taking on UCID, a team that has high highs and low lows. You can see our rosters right now. And I mean, for me, if we're going to see, UTS, the favorites come out on top, I'm looking at Ascent.
I have to agree with you there, Formal. I think Spring Hopak has been that player for me this season, or from the UTS side, who has been super strong and super consistent, but we have seen some real strength from Ascent as well. This is really tricky because UCID are typically our team who can be a little bit inconsistent, but towards the end of the season, they did come out of the gates really strong. So although UTS is probably the favorite going into this, I wouldn't be so sure that they're going to get the win tonight.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, UCID has had some very strong showings, and I mean, these are three players who are very much veterans of the AEL scene in Kabilio, Sai, and Biker Glass. I mean, Kabilio and Sai, the two of them, it feels like they kind of are the team that likes to carry UCID on their back. The problem for me has always been the consistency from that UCID side, whether or not they can play a complete series. And when you add even more games onto that list, consistency comes up again. However, for UTS, it was their first year in the Elite Series. They've made it to the Open Division Finals, and I'm curious what kind of form we'll see from them in the best of seven.
I think they'll definitely come into this series really hard, and they obviously, both teams are going to want to win this, whether they are veterans or whether they are new to the scene. It is surprising, Formal. I think from the start, I did think we would see UTS in the playoffs of the Elite Series. So to see them drop down to the Opens was, I guess, a little bit of a surprise to me. But these two teams were respectively 5th and 6th in the Elite Series, dropping down to the Opens. Now we're seeing them in the finals. So I think they'll definitely be going into next season seeking that Elite Series playoff spot.
It's kind of crazy, too, because I kind of had UTS pegged at the 5th spot, but if they were to make top 4, I would have actually thought it would have been Griffith, the team that's now in the finals, whose spot they would take, just kind of showing the unpredictable nature, I suppose, that events like this can give you. So we're getting close to kicking this one off. Last chance for predictions. Who do we have winning this Open Series Finals?
Ooh, well, that's tricky. I kind of want to go UCID on this one. I feel like when we look at the start of the season and the end of the season, I feel like UTS came out of the gates really strong and dropped off towards the end of the season, whereas I feel like UCID gained a lot more momentum as the season went on and became that little bit more consistent.
So yeah, I look at a match like this and I feel like I just don't trust the consistency of UCID, even in situations like this. So I'm going UTS, and I think it's going to be one of those situations where UCID comes out strong, takes the first 2 games, and then we see, the complete near reverse sweep back the other way. So I'm taking UTS in 6 for our first match of the night.
No, fair enough. I think realistically, this is a great Opens final, I think. And there were a lot of teams in the Opens that worked hard, and unfortunately didn't make it to the playoffs. Like I said, these 2 teams did drop down from the Elite Series because they didn't make the top 4. I think that this is actually going to be quite a spectacular grand final for the Opens.
Yeah, I think it will be a fun one for sure. I believe it was UTS who got in over the top of UOM, and then UCID got in over the likes of ANU. Here was our standings at the end of the Elite Series, by the way, in case you're kind of wondering, when we throw back to sort of their placements at the end, you can see UTS did finish on top of UCID on the ladder. They had that extra series victory over them, but I don't know. I mean, that doesn't really mean too much at this stage because this is it. This is the finals. Everything you've done before today doesn't matter if you show up or fail to show up when it matters most.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure the teams will be putting their best players forward, whether those players were on the original roster or whether they were subs. But yeah, just looking at this ladder, again, we talked about this last week, but UNSW going without a single loss throughout the season for the first time in the Elite Series. It's just incredible.
Also, an interesting thing coming into this match as well, UTS, I'm trying to do the math right there, and okay, it's not quite the case, but I find it interesting that UCID, with their 2 series wins, have more individual game wins than UTS, which shows that their series have consistently been closer than anything that we saw, unfortunately, out of UTS, which is kind of funny, but I mean, I think that actually plays to their benefit, but it also plays to what I'm saying, where it's like they can get off to a fast start and then fall apart late.
Yeah, well, it's also interesting to kind of see the impact that has on their, we talked about UCID having consistency issues, but the fact that they have had closer series, despite whether they've won or lost those series, is definitely a testament to the fact that they've managed to keep closer series or tighter series with some of the teams that are sitting at the top.
Yeah, it has been the case, and I mean, that's sort of what we're expecting in this one. I'm kind of tossing up in my head, coming into this, because which game is most likely to go to Champions Field today, and this is the contender. I think its biggest challenger is going to be that 3rd place matchup. That one, I think, is very likely to go to a Game 7 as well. But I dare say that our first match, UTS-UCID, more likely to go 7 than any other series tonight.
I tend to think you're right there, because we've spoken about it a lot, but these 2 teams, they did do well in the Elite Series, and it came right down, I believe, to the last week where we could have seen these teams take spots off our current 4 in the playoffs of the Elite Series. So that top, I guess I want to say maybe not 1st to 6th, but maybe 2nd to 6th teams in the Elite Series from this season, it really depended week on week as to who was going to win. And the fact that these 2 have dropped down, I think it really did come down to the last week, and I think this will be, I think you're right, the tightest series tonight.
I think it is going to be the case. It's also the team, I think, the 2 teams that I think are the least likely to kind of mental boom themselves out almost of a situation. That's we'll talk more about it when we go to our 3rd place match, but I think that's the big difference between this series and the 3rd place in the Elite Series game when we get to it. But where it stands right now, I do believe we are moments away from starting off this series. So thank you for sticking with us. We're about to jump onto the pitch now. It will be UTS on the blue side. UCID will be rocking in red. And again, I mean, a lot of interesting names to look out for. I'm saying Ascent. I'm looking at Ascent to be that name. I know you're looking at Spring Hopak on the opposite side. For me, it's all about Kabilio and Sai. It will be a lot of fun either way to see who sets up and who steps up in this 7-series match.
Absolutely, and that's not to say that Greasy and BkWhatOCE, both on their respective teams, haven't had their weeks as well. They've both been... I feel like with some of these teams, or as the teams particularly that have dropped out into the Opens, even the lower half of our playoffs teams, I don't think there's been too many weeks where all 3 players on any of these rosters have been playing at their absolute peak. We usually see one player or another take over that kind of, I guess, that carry role. Even game to game, that happens as well. So I wouldn't quite count out the other players yet either.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count out anyone. But every player has that equal potential to show up and step up. There's no character selection. There's no secret strats. It's all about how good you are on the day. And this day is about to kick off. Put 5 minutes on the clock. Let's count ourselves in. Game 1 of the Open Series Final is live right now.
Super exciting stuff. Our final week of the University Elite Series, our playoffs, our grand final later tonight, but our open final our grand final for the Opens happening right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a close one. We're super excited for this. We're already seeing a lot of midfield play. We're seeing a few attempts at like some flip resets and mech, and our first goal of the night goes to Ascent. Oh, your man.
Yeah, I mean, it was, unfortunately, from BkWhatOCE, just kind of lost control of that one in Ascent. Just a good touch from their own back half of the map, finds the gap. And, you know, when you look at, unfortunately, for this UCID team, I feel like that's a goal we've seen frequently against them, where midfield rotations, not where they need to be, quick strikes back onto the opposite side. And not necessarily because they're playing overly aggressive, it's just they tend to really like the sidewalls. They don't tend to play midfield that often, and sometimes you'll just get clearing touches like that.
Not just that, but it makes me worry about their comms a little bit as well, because I think, like I've said this before, but it's not often that you usually see issues with comms. It's obviously because we can't hear the players, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in the background, but teams like UCID, we do see that happen on field. We do see those miscommunications, sometimes even those double commits that lead to goals as well, or the poor rotations on field sometimes. And you know, if you've got really good clear comms, you can typically avoid that 99% of the time, but it's tricky if you're not communicating right with the team.
We will see how that will play out at the moment. I mean, you need good clear comms for an attack like that, but again, it looks like an open field back the other way. Had Spring Hopak a little bit more pepper behind that touch, we'd be looking at a 2-0 game instead. UCID is able to wrangle control once again, just putting consistent shots on the net, and it brings back the question from last week, Morky. What do you want, quality or quantity, when it comes to these shots?
I mean, right now, the thing I'm noticing with what a save, by the way, from Ascent. Usually I go the way of quality, but the amount of shots that UCID are getting on UTS's net right now, they're starving them a boost. Eventually, UTS are going to run out of boost, and they're not going to make those super high crossbar saves. So as much as quality is important, right now it seems like UCID has a tactical quantity.
And this is sort of the argument I was trying to make before when it came to quantity, just the sheer amount of pressure you can put. Eventually it's got to break, but when you miss, well, that's when things can go bad back the other way. This time there were a couple defenders in the middle of the field. It looked like a lot of cars charging at a ball, but without a lot of boost to back them up. Fortunately for UCID, they retake control. They're once again on the attack, or are they? Good clear from Spring Hopak.
Oh, UCID need to be really careful here. They are definitely leaving themselves open in defense with their third man pushing up a little bit, and that can be a really good tactic. Like I said,
it's open.
With the quantity of shots they're putting on net, but despite UTS having, I would say, definitely the lesser amount of time spent in their offensive half compared to UCID this game, they're up by 2 goals.
What's crazy too is with all of that pressure and all that attacking that we saw coming from the UCID side, they only put 5 shots on target throughout all of that. It was a lot of backboard, a lot of in the corner, and a lot of pressure, but they weren't able to get some of those finishing touches as that shot just looks on. Unfortunately, it's a double doink and outside. Is going to have to be a little bit frustrated with that.
Yeah, you have to be. You're absolutely right as well, Formal, with the shots. The fact that UCID has only put on 6 shots, I thought it would have definitely been more by this point. But 6 shots, no goals compared to UTS's 2 shots, 2 goals. Just is a testament to how well UTS is shooting at the moment as well.
Sai tries to go straight down the middle. That one will get caught up. I think the other thing of note too when it comes to that is again, like Sai, the one putting on most of the shots, has 4 of them there, but Ascent, the one coming through with the most saves so far in the game for this side of UTS, who will continue to sit back for the time being. We'll see if they can get any attacking pressure now on the UCID side. Again, needing 2 goals with just a minute 20 remaining is always going to be a tough ask. What a reset to get behind the defense. Fortunately, BkWhatOCE was there for the save.
What a reset indeed. That was a brilliant play by Spring Hopak to draw out that last man, that third man, sorry, that last defender. But we immediately go back down the other end. Like I said, UCID have just been doing really well to keep their offensive pressure and put UTS back on defense. So we're finally seeing a goal for Kabilio, and maybe they're starting to warm up a little bit. Maybe this game will be a little closer than we were initially thinking.
I will say this as the kickoff goes in. If the attacking pressure were to stay this one-sided throughout the series, I actually would think UCID will eventually walk away with it. A kickoff goal to equalize has definitely done a lot of work, you know, for this UCID team, and now we're going to have to see UTS be a bit more proactive in getting out of their own defensive half.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That as much as UTS have been playing really well in defense and, you know, managing to block as many shots as UCID are taking, or whether they're blocking shots or meeting the ball on the backboard to prevent UCID from setting up a good play on the net. Yeah, UTS really need to do a little more themselves. Yeah, we're just not seeing as much creation of play from them, as much midfield presence, and they're starting to get beat out by UCID now.
Sai's going to go ahead and put that one through, so a 3-2 lead for the team in red. Really well done, UCID. Get themselves back in this game. That's 3 goals over the course of just under 30 seconds if you want to play by those rules, and it's going to get a little dicey now. UTS, though, looking to equalize. The shot from Greasy is going to be saved, and with the clear backup the other way, UTS might only have 1 more chance left in our first game.
Absolutely, we're running out of time. The clock is ticking down. We have 20 seconds left. UTS need to do something now to stay in this match. I feel like being up by 2 goals was probably a little bit to their detriment, thinking they had a buffer there, and then UCID just came out of the gates, absolutely scoring left, right, and center. I think the clock is going to run down. Can they keep it up? Can they get 1 more shot? I think we're going to see a little bit of pressure as the ball drops down, and UCID have taken our first game.
And what a statement game from UCID as well. Attacking pressure throughout, yes, but more importantly, it was still a 2-goal deficit that they fought back with essentially 1 minute remaining in that game. So hats off to the UCID side. Great comeback, great sort of tone setter, I'd have to imagine, for the UCID team to get that first win. However, will they be able to maintain it? Again, we saw them get burned with that hyper-aggressive style a couple times early in game number 1. I think if they're a bit more mindful of that moving further, they should be in a good place to actually really control how this series plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. You said definitely taking advantage of UTS's more passive gameplay. I feel like it's something we've seen, like we were talking about consistency at the start, but I feel like sometimes that consistency does translate a little bit too much to being that, playing too passively as well. And I think we have seen that as an issue with UTS throughout the season. They have lacked that kind of aggression that we've seen out of some of our other teams. Typically we see that out of, obviously out of UNSW, out of Griffith as well, out of ANU, another aggressive team at times. But I feel like we've lacked that kind of gameplay out of UTS when they really need to switch it up.
We'll see how they look going into map number 2. One of the benefits of the best of 7, goes without saying, is you got that extra game in your back pocket that you normally wouldn't have in a best of 5, but it also goes both ways because that means there's an extra game of work you got to do to win the series out when it's all said and done. Game number 2 underway, and let's see how UTS adjusts. It looks good early for them. Side, though, back to the save.
Absolutely. Greasy looking for the pass here. Unfortunately, does whiff that one. Kabilio getting pressured as well on the wall. Starting to see a little bit more of that offensive pressure out of UTS. They're managing to keep UCID on the back foot in defense right now. Too many heavy touches though, and they will lose possession. Sai now taking the ball further upfield, Gabilio to the wall now as well, trying to get a pass but gets blocked by Ascent.
Glass, back wall just throws it right to Ascent. That is not the clear they were looking for. And it's going to be an early lead in favor of UTS.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Whether BkWhatOCE was looking for the pinch there or even just a more powerful shot, I don't think he quite expected Ascent to be right there, kind of lurking in front of the goal, ready for a pass, but nonetheless, Ascent has played that well, but we are going to see another quick shot out of Gabilio off the kickoff as well. Not immediately off the kickoff, but off the sidewall from the kickoff, straight into net. Now a shot from halfway to equalize this game.
Oh man, that was just instantaneous. Really well done by Gabilio to find and capitalize on that line. All that work for the first goal means not. Tie game once again, and now Gabilio, that's actually a little bit of an awkward touch. Ascent underneath, hoping for a misplay from BkWhatOCE. Not going to get it, so Greasy will play off the ball instead. Finally, the ball gets centered, and Ascent pushing too far forward will have to give possession right back, or do they? Oh, it's very messy, Morgie, in the middle of the field.
Yeah, a bunch of the UCID players kind of getting on top of each other there, and being, yeah, I'd say messy's probably the best word to describe that. UTS able to take advantage of that play, though. BkWhatOCE going to get a huge clear to the back wall of UTS as well, but unfortunately can't take advantage of that.
All right, first real demo I think you've seen this game coming from Ascent, and that's going to help, you know, midfield go in favor of the UTS side. BkWhatOCE, no, not again! Fortunately, this time Gabilio is there to bail him out.
Very, very lucky indeed. I think we could. It's a tricky read when the ball goes to that particular position, kind of on the curve of the backboard, and is immediately dropping down. It's a tricky one to read, but luckily BkWhatOCE bought just enough time for a teammate to come in and clear that. You see Greasy as well getting challenged by Gabilio. Ball's just loose in the midfield now, seeing a lot of back and forth possession for them.
Ringho pack, by the way, just before. I don't know if you caught that. Went for the musty double. It almost pulled it off. Something to keep our eyes on, I think, moving forwards as well. We haven't seen too many big mechanical plays yet this series. Of course, there's always time for that stand-up moment. And Ringho pack, you called them out at the start, can be that guy. I could see the argument for them being the most mechanical player on the pitch right now. Hopefully, they'll get another attempt at a shot like that, although defensively, that is about as terrible as you could ask for. Gabilio shows us how a double is done, and it's a 2-1 lead. Oh
no, I don't quite know what the plan was there, what the play was going on in Springhoback's head. Also, the other thing is both teammates just kind of spectating there, watching him go up awkwardly for the ball, gave Gabilio all the room he needed to get that goal and put UCID in the lead.
That's interesting. So far, I feel like this, you know, second game has just been defined by defensive missteps and awkward touches, which isn't typically what you'd be hoping for in a open series final, but sometimes is the case. You know, when things get a little bit more nervy than normal, these types of mistakes will happen. Still 2 minutes left to go, though, in this game. We are going to see UTS again on the attacking front. Teammates bump into each other, though. That allows the clear.
Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see teammates bumping one another, but we've seen it plenty of times before, and I'm sure we'll see it more as the night goes on. Gabilio looking for a teammate now, manages to find Sai, who pushes the ball to the backboard. Set does get the clear. Sai going in for a pass again. We kind of had a bit of a double commit there on the pass, which unfortunately left the ball without somebody to take the shot.
See what can be brought forward, back up that other way. By the way, Twitch chat, I see you UTS fans coming out in a little bit of force right now. They want to see their team get back in it. I can't blame them right now. Although, it's all right. Hey, UTS fans, I'll say this. My prediction did say they drop the first 2 games and then bring it back. So this is just par for the course right now. Gabilio open net. I guess that was a musty. Wasn't needed. Still counts. 3-1 lead.
At this point, Formal, it's going to be one of us. We did call opposite sides on this one. You called that they dropped the first 2 games, that UTS would come out victorious. I think UCID are looking too strong for them right now.
Yeah, but the question for UCID has always been, can they maintain it all the way through? Can they go and play through an entire series? I mean, we'll see. And it's all said and done for now, though. Game number 2 looks very good for this UCID side. UTS, well, unfortunately for them, it's going to be a little bit back to the drawing board. The team just plays so much stronger, I feel like, when they are ahead and compared to when they're behind. UTS, I mean, they just make more mistakes the second things start to go against them.
Oh, absolutely, and yeah, we've seen that in the regular season as well as Gabilio puts another UTS in this game. Well, the one thing I will say though is we were talking about offensive pressure lacking with UTS last game. Looking at the scoreboard, we look at stats towards the end of the game, but UTS have taken 9 shots compared to UCID's, I was going to say 5, but it is now 6. So UTS are in the lead on shots, but just not managing to sink everything. It seems like the stats have completely changed up from last game.
I mean, you know, if we're going to play the stats game, Gabilio had all the goals as well in favor of that UCID side. That's going to be changed with side with the lay point in it, but at this stage, it doesn't really matter too much. Game 2 is going to go to UCID. They're going to be up 2-0 in this series already. And now, we're kind of in that must-win situation, I feel, for UTS, looking ahead towards game number 3. Greasy, I thought was just going to put it in their own net for the funnies there as time whittles away. Was playing off the backboard instead. However, that might not stop one last goal from going through. Sai gets the 6th of the game for UCID.
This touch in the corner off BkWhatOCE, if that sunk, I would have been pretty impressed. But great positioning from Sai as well to be sitting in that wide third man position, be ready for the ball if he was needed to clean up. I think that it's a dangerous position to be sitting at the start of a game, but when you're up 5-1, I don't blame you for pushing up into offense quite far.
You gotta go for something, right? You gotta make a play somehow, some way. UCID, though, up now 2-0 after a dominant game number 2, and I can understand why UTS fans might be, feeling some of that concern in the Twitch chat. Game 1, giving up a 2-goal lead in the final minute sucks. And you hope going into game 2, you're going to see something to be like, okay, the team's still in it, they're still mentally sound. We just saw a complete collapse there, game number 2, particularly in the latter half of that game. It just went from, as you called out, 9 shots to 4 before the final minute and a half, and we finished with 9 shots to 8. UTS was never able to get that attacking pressure again, and we saw, an almost more even shooting scoreline, the only difference being the red team was hitting their goals. So going into game 3, must win for UTS, I dare say, if they're going to be able to get back in this series.
Oh, for sure. It just seemed like UCID was doing better to actually create the plays. We're not necessarily seeing so many solo plays as we are really good passes and, teammates looking for one another, which has been really playing to UCID's benefit here. It's, like you said, this is kind of, we're in game 3 now. If UTS can't manage to take this win here, it's going to be really, really dire for them, and it won't be looking good for the mental going into the 4th game.
So, we're going to see some pressure on the line. BkWhatOCE, not 1 but 2 key saves to keep the ball out of the net. Spring Hope Pack desperate to try to get it through, but it's not going to hit its mark. So, good defense coming from the UCID side. As again, more shots on from Spring Hope Pack, but nothing quite breaking through.
Yeah, and UTS pushing up pretty far, just then leaving, I think it was a descent back with no boost, was looking a little bit dangerous, but fortunately for them, UCID didn't notice and weren't able to capitalize on that. Sai now in the corner with 0 boost, misses the boost pad as well. Gabilio with the pass! The shot gets faked out by BkWhatOCE and Sai both going in to finish it off, and we have another goal on the board for UCID.
I mean, would you qualify that as a triple commit? Because I think an argument could be made that it was from the UTS defense. And the sad thing about that was everyone was doing so with boost in the tank. They all had the resources, which means, in my eyes at least, there was no need to panic. You all were there. Kickoff isn't able to respond as well. Open net miss. More saves on the line. Just nothing going in UTS's favor.
Oh, I feel like I want to say it's just super unfortunate, super bad luck for UTS right now, but at the same time, we are seeing a lot of cracks. I feel like we're absolutely seeing a lot of panic formal. Like you said, this is the week, this is the final week, this is do or die. This is we take we take first place, we take the grand final in the opens, or we come out second. You know, not where anyone wants to be. We're definitely seeing a lot of cracks from UTS right now.
That we are, and unfortunately, unless UTS can really put in the effort to shift this momentum, they need those goals that they keep, you know, unfortunately falling that little bit short, be it open net misses, be it nice saves from BkWhatOCE in particular, who has stepped up so far this third game. Got to find a way to break through. Again, I'm looking now at your pick, SpringHopePack. We've seen the mechanics from them before. I'd love to see if they could do it again. But this time actually hit that kind of goal. Instead, it's going to be a pass back to the middle, but no one wants to collect it from the UTS side.
Oh, yeah, it's super unfortunate that we've seen potentially an open net there. I was a little bit worried about that one. It looked like Sai was caught on the back foot as well. We've seen a lot of potential of this UTS side throughout the season and even today. Like you said, SpringHopePack has definitely been sitting at the top of his mechanical game. But one player we haven't been talking about so much is Greasy, who has been keeping this team alive and manages to equalize the score in this game 3.
So I have to ask right now in regards to Greasy, are you getting the same visual bug I'm getting?
Visual bug?
Yeah.
What?
I would guess not then. So there you go.
I don't think so.
So that's going to be good. Good goal from Greasy. I just had to ask, okay? It's not a big one. It's just that Greasy's name isn't coming up. It's just plain. All the other names are there except for Greasy.
Greasy's the invisible player on the field, no longer pushing,
well, I can't talk about them if they don't show up for me, right? Like,
that's fair enough. I mean, we have to talk about him now. He's equalized the score. He's kept UTS alive in this game. Doing
what series as well.
True, actually. If they don't lose this game, then it's. I think I'd definitely put it down to that goal there, kind of keeping them alive and saving them in the series.
We'll see. I mean, again, I'm standing by. This is kind of must win right now for the UTS squad, and it looked like Ascent was almost able to find something right there. Here we go, though. Sai, upper corner, good touch midfield. I believe that was SpringHopePack who's going to try to make the read. Instead, leaves it for Ascent. Gabilio and Sai, they bump into each other. Squishy save, not needed because it's the follow-up shot that had to go through. Ascent isn't able to hit his mark. More pressure coming from the UTS attackers, though. We're not done yet. Another demo in the corner. Another shot goes wide right. And somehow, someway, the ball stays out of the net.
Oh, it is the curse for UTS right now. No matter how many shots they are putting on net, they've only had that one single shot go in for, God, I feel like as far as I can remember in this series at this point. UCID now coming in, looking for another goal. Sai almost gets a wicked angle there, but unfortunately doesn't go in either. Both teams absolutely scrambling right now. Somebody wants to score. Somebody wants this to go into game 4. UCID want it now. Sai's going to go for the reset. Can't get it. Oh, well, this is chaos now.
13 seconds in regulation. Very likely we could be seeing overtime, but it will be UCID on the hunt for these final 5. BkWhatOCE, the one with the challenge, but it's won by Greasy. That will clear to the back corner. And they let it drop on the UCID side. They don't want to extend the play. We go to our first overtime of the evening.
Honestly, definitely a smart move. The amount of kickoff goals UCID have scored off, I would definitely drop the ball as well, personally. BkWhatOCE with a shot on net. SpringHopePack a little bit awkward with his touch there. Ball almost goes in. We're seeing challenges left, right, and center. But again, no shot formal.
Gabilio had to burn all of their boost, though, to be the third man in the forward quarter of the pitch to save the counterattacking goal. And now, well, it looks like it's going to be a short-lived attack. UTS, they don't want to push too far forward, but the ball still sails over their head. Trying to play the corner. Good defense from SpringHopePack. Now Greasy, the one on the charge. It'll be SpringHo, though, with the touch through the corner. Greasy next one up, but Ascent has the boost and is ready to strike. Shut down by the defensive BkWhatOCE.
BkWhatOCE fighting for his life in defense for much of this series, or much of this game in particular, doing wonders for UCID's defense right now, making sure UTS can't score. We're going to see an attacking opportunity of what I thought we were for UCID there, but unfortunately they've lost possession. Greasy going in for the shot. Can he get 2? Gets saved by Gabilio.
Making the double to go for the dunk. I like that setup. SpringHopePack just going to throw one onside with the read, but here comes Greasy again with boost. Does go for the reset. They find the second touch to the backboard. Not quite. Sai is there. The play a little bit too slow. Ascent will lose out on the 50. Springo Pack keeps the pressure on. Double commits now. Defense looks shaky from UCID, but they still find a way to clear it out.
Well, this isn't even a game 7, and you can tell it's playoffs night. You can tell it's a grand final. The intensity is up, the goals are up, the defensive pressure, the offensive pressure, the scrambling. There's so much intensity and pressure in this game right now. It has absolutely been an incredible grand final to begin with. We're going to see a shot from Kabilio as well, but gets saved by Greasy. I feel like this is going to be a long OT.
It very well could be, and it's because of like how important this game 3 really is in terms of shaping up where this series goes. I mean, if you're on UCID, you want to lock UTS out. You want to force them in that reverse sweep situation. Meanwhile, I mean, it goes without saying, UTS, it feels like they need to win it to stay in it. There was a chance there for Ascent. Can't quite come out on top on the 50. So far this OT, it's been dominated by the blue side, but now a chance for UCID. They're not going to be able to maintain midfield pressure. In fact, it's going to be a desperate save. Diving on the line, Sai gets it, and we continue to race back and forth.
Absolutely. We're going to see Sai again looking for a pass. We've got a demo on Biker Glass as well, a player who was definitely there for Sai's pass, looking for the shot. Kabilio managing to keep the ball alive, but all 3 of UTS's players dive on that, not letting UCID get away with it. A whiff, a fake, I don't know what you want to call it. We're starting to see more and more of them now. Ball's gone loose again. Maybe a shot out of Sai. The ball's going to drop down, but we get a clear out of Spring Hopak.
A lot of big, powerful touches in the middle of the field coming from the UCID side. Now they slow it down with Kabilio. Watch out, though, for Sai and Biker Glass, each with boost, each with chances to put shots on. Too many defenders on the goal line for the first attack to hit. But as they start to push out, maybe a line opens, maybe a goal is scored. Sai makes it a 3-0 lead for the University of Sydney.
That is crazy. Sai off the wall. Perfect angle straight over Spring Hopak as well, who had some boost, could have jumped or dived or done anything to get to that ball to save it, but was not quick enough to the chase. And Formal, UCID up 3-0 so far. We are going to match point for UTS. If they don't win this, obviously they're out. They get swept. They don't win this grand final. They need a reverse sweep. That is insane. If we manage to see that, this will be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long road ahead of UTS for sure, but I have to admire the fight that they showed in that game 3. I just worry, is that the last hurrah for this team? Do they still have more in the tank? And furthermore, again, when it comes to UCID, the same question marks remain. This is a chance to really get rid of one of this team's biggest demons. If they can come through in this open division grand final, get the clean sweep, something that often has eluded this team, it would be fantastic note for them to finish on. So still a lot to play for both of these sides. We'll see how it finishes out. Opening kickoff actually goes in favor of UCID. Shots off from side, post down, not in.
I love the passes. I love seeing it. Like I've said this in the past, and I'll say it over and over again. Solo play, being able to solo play is incredibly important, but being able to communicate with your teammates and look for passes is all the more important. But we've already, I missed off the roof, and then Sai went for the squishy save, but just too wide for it, and Greasy manages to capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess it was a little bit too telegraphed of a squishy there, Morgie. Greasy only had to drop it slowly underneath. Yeah, there was no chance for that save right there. Very unusual look as we see Biker Glass with the reset, almost sneaks it underneath the crossbar. But as UCID tends to do, they respond quickly after the first goal.
Every single time UTS have had, aside from the first game, every time UTS have had a lead, a 1-goal lead, UCID come back instantly to equalize and then even put themselves ahead with another. I wouldn't be surprised if we see yet another kickoff goal this game out of UCID. They just seem to be very, very quick to the start.
You know, it's kind of crazy because normally you're sitting in like, you know, I'll come back to this point later. Actually, I'm gonna bookmark my thought right there and open it up when everything's is said and done right now. But Spring Hopak, we're gonna try to dribble across the midfield. Good challenges, and this is a very good look for UTS. Unfortunately, Ascent a little bit too slow. Biker Glass able to hold the line. Now here comes Kabilio. They've got 2-3 defenders in front of them, all with various amounts of boost. It's a pass to nobody. I think they were expecting Biker Glass to cut a little bit quicker, so that attack fizzles.
Yeah, absolutely. That was quite wide. I'm surprised UTS didn't manage to cut it off a little sooner, but we're going to see. You said you wanted to see some crazy mech out of Spring Hoback, but I feel like we're seeing it a little bit more out of BkWhatOCE right now.
What happened to the BkWhatOCE at game 1 that was passing to their opponents? This BkWhatOCE winning the most improved on the day so far, that is for certain. If they had hit that shot, that could have been the final blow. Instead, it's an awkward attack, an open net. UTS racing for the pinch, though. Not what it needed to be. Missed opportunity for UTS.
Absolutely. You said playing a dangerous game right now, bringing their third man up so close in offense right now. As we can see, you know, we saw out of BkWhatOCE just then and out of Sight as well. They are playing a very forward third man, but to be fair, they have the buffer for it, Formal. They've got 3 games to potentially lose before they're on match point themselves.
Well, Sense just going to go ahead and put another one in. So there you go, UTS back out in front, and very reminiscent of the start of this series. Just a wide open middle of the field. Too many players rotating too wide on the side of UCID, and that's how UTS retakes the lead.
Absolutely, but I wouldn't be surprised if UCID come back with a goal of their own right now. It's looking super dangerous. BkWhatOCE in net, managing to get that save though. We're seeing whiffs out of UTS as well. Now it's not looking good. Spring Hoback caught on the back foot in the corner. Manages to get that flip in time to make it back to the ball. But UTS looking very pressured right now.
2 missed touches, and all of a sudden, all the pressure is on UTS, and it's probably going to stay that way for a little while. Here comes a double commit. That's not what you want to see, despite the shot being on. A relatively easy save for Freezy, and now back up the other way. Look how open the field looks. No boost on BkWhatOCE. 3-1 lead for UTS.
First time since game 1 we've seen UTS up with a lead, and I'm hoping they can hold it just long enough to manage to take this game from UCID. If they do, they will have that momentum on their side as well, which we've seen week in, week out, how important that is. And not wanting to get swept right now, but if they can win this game and gain that momentum, they might still have a shot in the series.
It's why, again, especially against a team like UCID, you've got to stay in it, because eventually the opportunities will come. This team has showed that, unfortunately, several times throughout the past few seasons. And now, UTS, they stuck with it. They kept that aggressive approach that saw them keep it nearly even in game 3, and it's paying dividends here in game number 4. A 4-1 lead, just over 2 minutes remaining. I think we're probably going to a game 5.
Yeah, definitely. This would be hard for UCID to fight back this game now, and to be quite honest, I feel like they wouldn't feel too pressured to absolutely have to win this one. It is not do or die for them like it is for UTS, but we're seeing a lot of scramble, a lot of double, even triple commits out of UTS right now. They still need to keep it together. They still need to park the bus on this one and not let UCID get any more goals.
Yeah, let's not forget game 1. It was a 2-goal comeback in the final minute and 10 seconds. That still could be on the cards right here, as we nearly see UCID put that one through. UCID starting to get more and more accurate with each of these touches. Side now just going to put a shot on, post down, not in despite the demo. I feel like that one had to go through. UTS avoids a dagger.
Speaking of being reminiscent of game 1, I feel like UCID's shots are starting to revert to their game 1 place as well, where we were seeing a lot of crossbar shots. We were seeing a lot of just slightly wide misses. UCID have managed to take a couple of shots this game, but just not on target.
That one was the easiest target I think you're going to see hit tonight. Breezy off the open net, putting game 4 away. And this is times more where I'm like, you know, crazy things can happen. Yeah, 4 goals, 51 seconds. Ooh, wow, crazy. I'm ready to push the fast forward button. Let's go to that game 5. Let's see where things go from here. But we'll see how these final seconds play out. After all, if you are kind of pulling for UCID, you want to see, you know, something to go into our 5th game.
Oh, absolutely. I tend to agree that I would call this game now a write-off. I don't think UCID can manage to bring back 4 goals in 30 seconds, but nonetheless, we unfortunately don't have a fast-forward button, so we will play out the rest of the game. I mean, 3 goals in 30 seconds is looking a little more doable, but this would have to be an incredible showing from UCID to bring it back.
Immaculate kickoffs, multiple of them. to pull it through. Like, if we're talking gridiron, you've got to hit every single onside kick and every single Hail Mary thereafter. See what they can bring. Sai gonna go for that dribble straight down, and all of a sudden, backwards exposed. Anybody underneath? Not quite. And I think that took a little bit too much time off the clock. So 3 goals, 15 seconds. It ain't happening. UTS secures game number 4. They stay alive as we're about to get geared up for game number 5.
Yeah, absolutely. This game was do or die for UTS. Not just to stay in the grand final, but to give them a little bit of life. Nobody expected to come into this series with. I feel like I wouldn't have thought anybody would call this series being a sweep. Looking at it, we expected this series to be our series of the day, to go to game 7, not be a sweep at all. So the fact that this has almost been a sweep is crazy. I'm glad UTS have managed to hold their own in this game 4 right now and keep themselves alive in the series.
Yeah, but we'll see how long they can do that for. Again, reverse sweeps are difficult because of the sheer amount of consistency that's required. I mean, winning 4 games in a row doesn't matter how strong you are in comparative to your opponent. It's always a difficult ask, especially when essentially these two teams are about as evenly matched as you can get. So pressure on for UTS to continue right where they left up, gearing up, ready to go. Game number 5. UCID showed that they can have weaknesses again. Those clears up the middle, those slow rotations along the outside. It gives opportunities to their opponents. Maybe we'll see more of those again here, but the kickoff, no, it's an open net miss for Sai.
Oh, that is not the kind. We've seen a few misses tonight, but that is not the kind of, I guess, easier shot we would expect Sai to miss. Unfortunately, maybe just getting the wobbles, getting the shakes in this game, wanting to put it away. There is pressure on UCID now to just finish it and get it over and done with, but not if they're missing like that.
Yeah, that was a very awkward start for the UCID side, and hopefully for the team in red, that's not a sign of things to come, because that's very reminiscent of their shooting in game 4, and, well, for the first 4 minutes of game number 1 as well. Ringo Pack is going to have some space to work with. Instead, a little bit too far in front of them. Possession goes back and forth. It's all for the challenge, though. All trying to burn those resources now through the corner. Second touch off the backboard shot, nearly there. Save made by Greasy. Or by Camilo.
Almost looking super dangerous there for UCID. Pushed onto the back foot. Defenders without boost is not the position you want to be in, especially when you have defenders sitting on the backboard. Ascent with an excellent cut there to make sure the ball was kept in their possession, but with a clear from UCID as well, the ball's immediately gone down the other end. We're going to see a shot from Sai. Ascent gets the save on the ground and stops him from getting the pinch into net.
That could have been so good. Instead, well, comes back up the other way. Still 3.5 minutes to go. Sai won't get a chance. Ball towards the backboard. Cabilio wants to stay with it. 3 blue members there on UTS. That's a little bit of incredibly tight spacing, which is leading to this shot. Had Biker Class found the bump, that could have been the goal. I'm worried about UTS's rotations right now, Morgie.
Oh yeah, definitely worried. I'm joining you on that concern right now, Formal. This is not looking good for UTS. It's looking very, very frazzled, very messy, especially in defense. We're getting some demos out of UCID now. Biker Glass on Ascent takes it down to a 2-man defense, but UCID just not capitalizing in time. Almost 2 defenders in net, expecting the other one to go for the save. This is not looking good for UTS.
I mean, that was also shaky from the UCID side as well. It felt like Sai and Cabilio each just completely whiffed the ball, and still Biker Glass, was able to turn that lemon into some lemonade nearly shot, almost going through, and now more chances, dare I say, from the UCID side. If they can get this ball centered, where's the follow-up? It's actually coming from UTS. Ball down, not in. Defense makes a desperate touch. Open net other way. 1-0 for Biker Glass.
Oh, 1-0 for Biker Glass indeed. That was, you know what, the one thing I did notice there, that was super messy play from Sai, and not what I'm expecting out of him individually as a player. The pass to the side wall, almost like he was expecting it to roll up the wall and manage to keep possession, but ultimately set up UTS for a shot there as well. Then coming off the backboard and whipping the ball again is not the kind of shaky play I expect out of Sai.
They'll create more opportunities for themselves. Either way, Ascent runs into some traffic middle of the pitch. It will be Cabilio instead, lobbing it across, wanting to stay with it underneath. Can only go so far. 2 minutes on the clock. Ball gets centered. Here comes Sai with first touch. Unable to find the second, at least not straight away. Camilio, ball down, not in. 50 to go. Biker Glass wants to stay with the play, but it's going to be Greasy again, who tries to create some space with it. Just 100 seconds remaining, and again, it's UTS on the back foot looking for that equalizing goal, and they even get it out of their own half.
Yeah, they're going to have to play super, or not even super aggressively, but just more aggressive than they're playing right now. We're still seeing a third man sitting quite back deep in defense like Spring Hopak was just then, and I know they have to be careful for usage shots, but at the same time, it's high risk, high reward, right? You've got to put yourselves out there to actually score and to even just equalize this game at this point, because it's looking really dire for UTS now.
It really is UTS. I mean, they've got just over a minute remaining, and it feels like they've been on the back foot for the past two as well. And they find a way to crack that midfield line. I mean, that touch may have got three players forward. Unfortunately, Greasy wasn't able to go over the top. Spring Hopak goes for an easy play. Double commit from the defense, but no follow-up from UTS.
Yeah, UTS just not playing, or sorry, they are playing too passively right now, not following up their shots, not following up their first man, second man out of position as well. We've seen positional and rotational errors throughout this series. They've had some moments, but I feel like the majority of this has been messy for them.
Well, with 25 seconds remaining, it's do or die for the UTS side. For UCID, can they hold on? Ascent nearly finds the gap underneath. Too close for comfort, I dare say, for UCID. And the pressure's not done yet. Spring Hopak up into the corner underneath the first defender, but can't get it over the top of the second. Biker Glass doing work, trying to buy time. 3 seconds to go. Double commit, sees two attackers miss. Ball does not hit the ground. Spring Hopak keeps it up. Desperation play. Ascent. Do they have the touch? As Spring Hopak towards the wall side. Plays the backboard, looks to drop it down. Greasy cannot collect, and UCID wins the Open Finals.
Congratulations, UCID, and in a way, well played UTS as well. They unfortunately did not keep the series as close. We weren't able to make it through to Champions Field, but they did take a game off UCID there, and it was a good game. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, the series overall was just a little bit inconsistent, but consistency being our keyword of the day, Formal, I feel like that was one of the best consistent days we've seen out of UCID this season.
I have to agree. I think they were the stronger team. Score is evident of that just throughout the entirety of it all. Their attack, when it got flowing, was so fast, so relentless, and it kept UTS a team that's very threatening in their own right when given space. Just on the back foot for far too much of it for them to really get involved. Was it a clean series? No, not at all. Both teams made a lot of sloppy mistakes throughout, but I think because we saw, UCID being that faster team, they're able to thrive a bit more in the chaos.
Oh, absolutely. That was all about that was all about speed. The majority percentage of possession was in UCID's offensive half. UTS were just found on the back foot way too often with way too little boost, and that really gave UCID the advantage in that series.
I don't know why I'm bringing attention to this, but I got out of the shower, kind of jumped straight on, all right, got my hair, clean for this event.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, I kind of look like I'm balding, which I am almost certainly not. Normally my hair is so. Not to bring my self-consciousness into this right now, but geez. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Look, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, our third place match right around the corner. Do stick with us. We're going to be right back. Oh, we have an interview. That's right. We're doing interviews first. Never mind. No break. Forget the break.
No break for us yet.
Yeah, why break? Why break when we can interview, of course. It's going to be a two-person interview as well, which is going to be fun. Celio and Biker Glass is going to be joining us in a few moments. So, I got really self-conscious about my hair and wanted to run away. And then the producer's like, no, you're not allowed. Lock the door on me. Now we're stuck.
Not going to be on camera for a little bit longer, but a two-person interview. That's exciting. We haven't had that this season.
No, we haven't. Not this season for sure. I mean, look, sometimes these interviews get kind of crazy when you get three people in there and who knows what's happening. But a two-person interview works for me, and hopefully it won't take too long before they're set up and ready to go. As I've lost our producer in my ear actually right now, so we could get surprised by this interview. They could just appear out of nowhere. We gotta be ready for anything now, Morgan.
I mean, I like being kept on my toes a little bit with this entire season. I feel like the Elite series, and the Opens as well, just University series in general, has kept me on my toes the entire season. I never really know what to expect. So honestly, if 3 people rock up to this interview, if 1 rocks up to this interview, if we get an interview with the UTS, I don't know. I'm going with the flow on this. It could be anything at this point.
Yeah, we will see how it plays out. I mean, I'm excited to hear from Celio and Biker Glass. Typically, with these types of situations, I'm going to be curious. I think a big question for me, though, because I could be wrong, but I believe Sai is graduating. And that could be the last time we get to see them on stream. So hopefully, they are, able to talk about their experiences to this point. As soon as we get to that interview, I can't imagine we're too far away from it now. So, thank you for staying with us, and yeah, will be a good one. While we wait, though, let's look ahead a little bit for our next matchup, that 3rd place game, UON taking on Griffith. Oh, real quick, what's our kind of thoughts on that?
I think that's going to be interesting, Formal, just because, it's UON versus.
Oh, did I say Griffith?
QT.
I meant.
Yeah. I looked down at my notepad. And I was like,
Queensland schools are the same. All right, I'm sure our 2 guests right now would agree with me on that one. We have Biker Glass and Celio, I believe, on the line right now. First of all, congratulations to you both, Open Series champion. I know it's not quite the same luster as the Elite Series champion, but hey, champion nonetheless.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
How did you feel going into tonight? Were there any nerves? Did you think the series was going to be a lot closer? Like, how did you feel?
Well, we lost in the Elite Series to them, so I think there was a bit of a challenge to face. Mental challenge, anyway.
And so, this is your last season with the AEL Elite Series. First of all, congratulations to each of you graduating this year, graduating this semester. I'm assuming if you haven't graduated already. Moving on to brighter and better things. I guess now would be a time for reflection, almost finishing Open Series champion. You've each been playing in this series for so long. What has like the AEL Rocket League meant for you both?
I guess it's been a lot of fun. Like it's been good to play, meet people that I guess you wouldn't normally meet on campus as such. And yeah, it's just been fun to keep playing for something, keep a bit of that competitiveness alive.
No, fair enough. We've definitely enjoyed seeing you guys play and seeing familiar faces pop up season on season. It really is impressive. Not just your dedication to the game, but your dedication to be a part of the league as well has been really appreciated. One thing I'm wondering is what are plans going forward, both uni, now that you finished, life plans. Are you going to be continuing competing in Rocket League as well?
I think I'm going to be finished with Rocket League, but definitely starting work and progressing to that is a new goal.
Well, I mean, wish you obviously all the luck on your future endeavors and hope things go well. At this stage, though, with everything wrapping up, any final words, any people you want to thank, any acknowledgements? Well, the floor is yours.
I guess just thank you to everyone who watches. Thank you to the other guys from UCID that might watch, the other teams that played. Hopefully we can form another team next semester now that some of us are going. Thank you to you guys for casting. Thanks to everyone, BK, for organising it, and everyone behind the scenes as well. And yeah, I hope people keep playing into next semester and it keeps going.
Big shout out to Cabelio.
Yeah.
Leaving him behind, it seems like, to try and hold down the fort for the future. Other way, thank you each so much for playing with us for all these years, and have a great afternoon. For us here, though, right now, we're going to be throwing it to a break. When we come back, we'll have a word with UTS, and then we'll go straight into our 3rd place matchup, QUT taking on UON when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. We are moments away from our Elite Series third place match, but before we get too deep into that, it's our final chance to have a chat with two players from the UTS side, Greasy and Ascent, joining us right now. First of all, condolences on the loss. I know it's not the way you wanted to end the season. However, for a first season in the Elite Series to kind of make it into a top 6 finish, 5th place on the ladder, how are you kind of each feeling this year went?
Yeah, I think we did pretty well. Like, we started off alright, but we fell off a bit during the end, and I think that was mostly because Stimpy had his uni that lined up with AEL, and it was a bit tough with scheduling and all. But yeah, overall, it was a nice experience, and we were glad to make it to the grand finals in the end.
Yep. So I guess from there as well, the next question would be like, what exactly are you doing moving forward from here? Like, where do you go following this point?
Oh yeah, Sent, you want to answer that?
Oh yeah, so I suppose we either run it back or make adjustments to the team. There's definitely places we can improve upon, like maybe start scrimming or cracking during the week. Obviously, with scheduling, it's a bit tough, but I got going forward, just locking in for exam blocks coming up. So I don't know, just head up, I suppose, onto the next semester.
No, that's fair enough. I think, like from the get-go, when you guys entered this competition, obviously it's hard being the new team, but we immediately noticed that you do have a really strong roster and you do have your strengths. Everybody has their rough weeks, and of course with uni students, it's tricky coordinating schedules. I think one thing that we've talked about is the teams in the Elite Series that were sitting almost from 2nd to 6th, I would say. So including you guys and you, Sid, it was really week on, week off as to, how the teams are going to perform. So hopefully going into next season, you guys can make it through to the Elite Series playoffs. Are you looking to keep the same roster, or nobody's graduating, right? We're keeping somewhat the same players?
Crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so me, Stimpy, we're all in our first year, so seeing on how things go, we're looking to probably keep this going. We'll just see how it goes though, and if we enjoy it, we'll keep going, and I don't know, we just feel it out, I suppose.
All right. I mean, and regards, I guess, when you look ahead towards next season and the seasons following, was there any team that you kind of have that bullseye on, the match that you kind of want back, where you feel like next time we're going to take them down? Who does that happen to be?
Yeah, we definitely had our eyes on UNSW during the start, but bit of an unfortunate match there, and the following games after that weren't too good either. But we're just happy to be here and showing up to every match, giving it our all, and yeah.
Well, that's good stuff. Well, in that case, looking forward to seeing you guys each back next season to see what UTS can do, and hopefully you can get into that top 4.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
each
guys.
very, very much. But we have to keep rolling on now. That third place match, getting geared up, ready to go. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. QUT, UON, and look, it's kind of crazy to think, Morgie, that UON and QUT, both teams that at times have looked like the second best team in this league, are now only playing for third place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you have, it's hard to say, that anybody would take a spot over UNSW, but Griffith in particular as well, it was looking really dicey there. It was a tricky to call who was going to end in that second position, who was going to make it through to the grand final. But I feel like these teams have been switching and swapping quite a lot. QT, not a huge shock last week that they were forward by UNSW, or more so that they lost to UNSW. But that UON Griffith game, that decided who was going to be in our grand final out of those two teams. That was tricky to call, and ultimately UON lost that, which has put them in this position today.
Yeah, it is a rough position, I think, for UON to be in. I think this team may have had some higher expectations when you look at the lineup, especially with the emergence of Eminence in the latter half of the season. You kind of expected them to be up there. Bud is back, though, and I think that's worthy of some note as we get ready for this series.
Thoughts on that one, Formal?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
You sound nervous.
I'm nervous about it because I'm looking at QUT's lineup, and it is the Classico for QUT, the Jack and Mac connection. Front two has been looking just stronger with each and every series throughout. I mean, Bud is going to have to bring their A game if UON is going to win this one out.
Oh, absolutely. It will depend on how well Bud is playing. I'm trying to recall their sub or their usual the other player that they have on this roster. It's just escaping my mind right now. Speedy is the player. It'll be interesting to see the dynamics without Speedy, with Bud in instead. But that, like you touched on it just before, that star player of this roster for me, I think, is Eminence, who came into this season as the new player and has just come out of the gates like a bull in these games. Eminence is fast, he's mechanical, he's a team player as well, and I think that plays to UON's benefit hugely.
I think it will as well, but you hit the nail on the head for this one. It's not about one player, it's about how well the team can support each other, and that's been one of QUT's biggest strengths, is every player kind of has that role and knows how to show up. So we'll see how these two sides do compare. We're moments away from, getting this third place match started. Eyes on UON, though. I'd have to say they're a favorite. I'm just going to jump in, make my prediction. UON's going to take this one in 7 games, Morgie. I think we didn't go the distance last time, so that means we're going to go the distance this time. UON in Champions Field.
Oh, this is so tricky for me. This is harder for me than the first series. The first series, I don't know why, but something was screaming UCID to me. Mm-hmm. In this series here, given how QUT did play last week, ultimately they did lose to UNSW, but given how strong the team was looking and how I guess the keyword of the day, consistency, how they were managing to keep somewhat consistency in the plays they were creating, I kind of want to swing the way of QUT this time.
Fair enough. Hey, you're 1-0. I'm 0-1. I believe in Bud. It sounds like you believe in Spud. Either way, we're about ready to kick this game off as players are going to make their way on the pitch. This is it, our third place match on the Elite Series. 5 minutes will be placed on that clock. And about a bit of a slower one, because we're still waiting for one more player to join. We're waiting for Jack. Where's Jack? What has happened to Jack? Jack is not on the pitch, and now the 5 minutes comes on the clock, but we're going to be getting a pause straight away as there are only 2 members of QT there. So while we wait that little bit longer, I mean, if we are going to see that QT victory, who's going to be the player that steps up for you?
Front. It's always the Mac and Jacko duo. We've seen it week in, week out. Again, we know what to expect from them, but when Front is performing at his peak, we're not so reliant on Mac and Jacko looking for team passes to one another. We're looking to Front as that solo player. As we have...
Oh, this is interesting one. This could be a little bit of a longer delay, so we've got kind of more time to talk about this matchup. And unfortunately, not one thing that's necessarily a shining light worth bringing up, though, is UON's form at the start of the season compared to what we saw from them later in the season, because they started off 4-match win streak, looking very, very strong, but then things started to get a little shaky for them, and I believe it was actually QUT that handed them their second loss, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll double check on that one, but that's got to be a little bit annoying for them to see, the 2 teams that gave them trouble now here in the in the third place match.
For sure, and I mean, not to play a devil's advocate here, I do agree that they were playing really well at the beginning of the season, but they were finding themselves in a lot of Game 7s. They were finding themselves in a position where a couple of times they did...
By the way, I had to double check, and this is why I double checked. No, they actually won that Game 5 last time. I thought they came up short against QT, but no, they did win that one out. So.
Oh, okay, that'll be interesting then. But yeah, I guess just to touch back on that is, they were, UON at the start of the season, they were winning their series, but they were in a lot of Game 7s. They were very successfully, I might add, having to reverse sweep a couple of times as well. They're good at that. They're really great under pressure. But I think you're right that the start of the season was definitely their stronger point.
Well, hopefully it will get us into this game shortly. We don't want to see a situation where a team's technical difficulties could cost them an early game loss. I imagine it shouldn't take too long. I believe we're getting a restart happening right now, like a PC restart, not a lobby restart. So
Yep.
eyes waiting for that. But as we continue to wait along to get into this game, QUT also was an interesting one where, again, outside of their matches against the University of New South Wales, in which everybody looks like they struggled, it was only when they had to play subs that this team didn't look like they were operating at full strength. And it feels like when they got their full lineup together, they quite frequently look like the second best team in this league.
QUT?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I do. I tend to agree. Griffith, like I said earlier, but Griffith, it was so back and forth so many weeks with these teams that I wouldn't have necessarily picked Griffith from the start to be in the grand final. If I absolutely had to choose, I think it would have been, funny enough, QUT or UON. Or even at some point, I was convinced that UTS was going to be the team to come up against UNSW in the final as well. So it really goes to show how choppy this University League can be. And sometimes it does come down to subs. Sometimes it does come down to, schedule clashes and rosters and whatnot, because these are uni students.
I think at full strength, though, this is the series I expected to see in the semifinals, to see who would go to the finals. I always figured it'd be one of these two teams on paper. And that's just a testament to Griffith and the run that Griffith has had to get to the finals. We'll talk more about that then, because right now it's all about Eminence as UON strikes first.
Azora coming up as well for that. Somewhat of a double commit. Looks like Azora would have gotten the touch, but Eminence just beating him to it, just getting that speed on the ball, get it into there a little bit quicker, and putting this side up, this UON side up by 1 goal already.
Yeah, great start for UON, the exact start we're looking to see. And what's interesting about this series to me as well, Morgie, and it's why I'm a little bit nervous in my prediction of seeing us go 7. Something I've noticed from both of these teams, sometimes when things start to go bad, things go very, very bad. I think these are arguably two of the most swingy, momentum-based teams out there. QUT as well. Some of their losses, it has felt like the team has completely collapsed when they've fallen behind. UON, you could almost argue the other way, where sometimes when they seem down and out, they'll come through with that big swing momentum back in their favor as well. I do worry this is one of those series, as Max scores their goal, where one team, when they have that momentum, could completely run away with every game.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you just hit the nail on the head there with UON being that team that does, when they are down and out, when they are losing a series, they do manage to somehow find that little bit of momentum to bring things all the way back, and in a couple of cases, ultimately successfully reverse sweep other teams. The thing that draws my attention to is just how strong their mental is, and I feel like going into playoffs, even if it's a third place final, it's still a final. You need to have strong mental. You need to not let the nerves get the better of you, and I think UON does that really well.
We'll see what they're able to do with it. Right now it's currently a tie game, though, 1-1, game number 1. Series won't be won or lost here in this first game, but it is that tone setter, as I like to state. And, well, at the moment, it's pretty back and forth between both these teams.
Yeah, definitely. No one really holding too much possession. We've seen a lot of heavy touches, a lot of passes go astray, and a couple of whiffs as well. Ball is going back and forth between both of these sides. It just seems that nobody's getting the touches they want just yet.
And neither side able to really wrestle a major advantage on this one. 2 shots aside, as you just called out, but this one's open. Third shot lucky. Front credit for the free goal.
Yeah, definitely. Jacko getting demoed there, but still managed to get the pass off in time. I know Azora was chasing down Jacko on that sidewall there, but it seemed like Eminence should have been covering the net just that little bit better, and ultimately, yeah, they've lost a goal to QUT here.
Very unfortunate, but still time to bring this one back as we hit the halfway point. Things looking good for the QUT side. Jacko, good little wave dash to stay on the play. Now through the corner, it's a triple commit from the defense. Net looks open. If they can keep the ball high, pass back down low. Azora able to rotate back and disrupt.
Yeah, good positioning there from Azora, especially with zero boost as well. Just kind of bullying whoever wants to challenge the ball, trying to get his car in the way. Body the 50. But Eminence all the way back down the other end, takes the ball from one side to another, gets the ball over Jacko early, takes it up into the air for an air dribble, gets the reset as well over Mac and straight into net to equalize this game.
And that's exactly what you want to see right now for this series. Back and forth play. The playmakers stepping up. I mean, Eminence was calling them out as being that game changer and possibly what could push UON over the top in this series. We've seen that so far in game one, but here comes Jacko. Shut down by Azura. Front wants to stay on it. Backboard ball's going to be in a very strikeable position. Mac does the smart thing though. Waits for the defense. First one misses, but Eminence does not.
Good pop over the top of the defender just then as well. You see Eminence now with control of the ball. Gets 50 by Front, who manages to take possession down the other end. We've got two of QUT's players committed to taking this ball off the wall to the center now. Azura back down the other end, gets a massive touch off the backboard, doubles it straight into the corner of net. That was impressive.
That was so slick right there. Azura, a clean double touch. And one of those ones where I always love the double touches where you have to put in that extra bit of boost to recover because the initial launch angle wasn't that great. It's just a fine example of car control and understanding what angle you need to attack that shot at as well, because again, they had to go that lower left corner. Now a musty setup to Bud, and it's a 4-2 lead for UON.
Bud just bodying the defenders there, not letting them clear the ball. Mac and Front both trying to make an attempt on that save just there, but Bud flying in out of nowhere gets the dunk on two players and puts UON up by another goal.
Now with a 4-2 advantage. It looks like UON, they may have done just enough to win this first game, but what I'm loving from them has just been the mechanics on display in order to put this one away. Great stuff and just connecting, looking fast, looking furious. And if this was to be a one-sided series, the expectation would be UON just running away with it.
Oh, I think it's looking very likely right now that you may be right on that one for Azura. With a touch to the roof, drops it straight down in front of net. We had two defenders from QUT up in the air, and all Eminence had to do was tap that very slowly on the ground to send it into net.
And as it falls through with a 3-goal lead, if you're QUT, no one likes saying, okay, GG, let's just go next. However, at what stage do you start saying, GG, let's just go next, Morgie? Because I feel like time's up for game one.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Formal. They would have to be very aggressive to bring this lead back, or to at least equalize this game. And it's not looking very likely right now. We're going to see them still try. They've still got a little bit of energy left in them. The ball's dropped in front of net by Azura. Eminence there to collect it though. Jacko trying to keep possession for QUT, but ultimately it just goes back the way of UON.
Back and within their control as seconds run away, it should be enough. And yet UON still wants to find more goals. It was a good touch for Bud to play the backboard. No one else there to follow it up. Final 10 seconds. One last chance for a bit of momentum for QUT. Jacko, the one with the ball, but can't quite keep it straight where it needed to fall. Ball hits the ground. UON, a dominant second half of game number one, gives them the win.
Absolutely. UON are definitely in this to win it. They've come out of the gates very, very fast, very, very speedy as well. Eminence, our player we were calling to look out for, 3 goals on the board, 2 assists, 2 saves, plenty of shots. That's not to say Azura and Bud haven't been doing all the work, doing their side of the work as well, both with goals on the board. UON's just looking too strong for QUT right now. QUT need to do something quick.
We saw Bud, not Spud, Morgie. That's what we were hoping to see, which is good to see. It was actually Azura, though, who I think defensively as well. I know they only got 1 recorded save, but there's just a lot of strong first defensive touches coming out of Azura, and very good job kind of reading the backboard, reading the flow, and knowing where to put that ball to allow Eminence to get some of those nice clears. It was a great start, and exactly what you were hoping to see from UON, who, let's be real, like they're the expected team to be a bit faster, a bit more dominant. QUT, they look good when they can match it. They look good when their aggression gets up, but if they're on the backboard the entire time because of, efficient defensive play from UON, well, it's going to be a tough game for QUT moving forward.
Yeah, UON definitely playing very effective right now. As you mentioned, very efficient as well. I think that I would almost say that, you know, we've been calling Eminence the playmaker. I would almost say that you're right in saying that it seems more of a role for Azora right now. Eminence is kind of like the striker. I would say finishing off the shots, but that first shot that UON had in the first game, that was all Azora 99% of the way, and just for Eminence to come in and tap it at the end. Sorry, so we're giving Eminence the credit, but you are right. I will take that back. I feel like Azora is the one to look out for right now.
It was just a strong showing from the entire team as a whole, and if they can do it again, they're in a great position. Speaking of Azora and Eminence, what a connection, what a goal, and now it's a 1-0 lead.
Definitely playing like a great duo right now. I feel like this is the kind of duo we see out of Mac and Jacko usually, that kind of team play between two players, that synergy between two players, but we're seeing it on the other side out of Azora and Eminence.
Yeah, and it's really good for you and Azora, almost an off kickoff on another one as well. Very strong start, Bud, backward, Eminence, looking, waiting, thinking, peeking,
Ooh.
top corner, it's in, 2-0 lead.
I think Mac accidentally gave a little bit more power to Eminence's... Oh no, got the bump off the end. It almost looked like Mac got a touch on the ball or got a pinch, but I think maybe just a little bit of delay on my side. Excellent power from Eminence to get that right with the corner of his car and send it so quickly into net.
That was great stuff, and this is the Eminence that we were hoping to see last week, I dare say, in that semifinal. Good to see UON back on form, and already 2 goals up, 1 minute into game number 2, QUT. I mean, I'm still left wanting right now. We know what QUT looks like when they're playing their best. They're fast, they're aggressive, they're always in their opponent's half. We just haven't been seeing it too much yet, Jacko. I get something going here, though, flick on the net, but where is Mac? Front's back at the midfield. They're playing more passive than normal.
Not just are they playing more passive, but where's the control out of this side that we usually see? That flick, it was a good flick from Jacko onto net, but it was too slow to result in a goal. Scramble in defense. I feel like QUT are just being completely pushed out of this game right now. UON are playing incredibly, getting demos on the defenders as well, leaving the defenders alive without boost, and just running away with this game right now.
Yeah, it does feel to be the case because, I mean, UON, they are an opportunistic team. Eminence is proving to be an opportunistic player. A hat trick, not even 2 minutes into the second game. 3 goals required for the comeback, and the only good thing about that for QUT is they've got a lot of time to pull it off, but that's also more time for UON to even put more goals on. They're on the attack. It's Eminence one more time. First shot saved, second shot is not, and it's now a 4-0 advantage.
Far out. Eminence is putting the pressure on QUT right now in defense. Not to say though that was not the touch that Mac was looking for to bring the ball out of net. Kind of got a bit of a wave dash on the ground, which resulted in a light touch on the ball, just putting it right in front of Eminence.
That was good stuff, and now it's Mac's turn to show us what he can do. Finally, QUT gets on the board.
Yeah, nice little pop up from front. Mac getting the double off the backboard. Classic Rocket League, classic mech that we usually do see out of this team. I'm just a little concerned that it's too little too late in this game.
In this game, yes. In the series, not at all. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on QUT, and the pressure could be starting now, let's be honest. I mean, 3 goals, half a game, it's doable. But assuming, you know, we continue to see this form from UON that's got them in this position, again, reverse sweeps are so difficult to pull off. You kind of have to go into game 3 feeling like, all right, this is a must-win game for us right now. Backs now against the ball. And that's why I like that double touch from Mac. It's showing us that, okay, QUT still has some fight in them. They're still looking for those chances. I think so far this series has been a lot more UON just rising to a level that, you know, we always knew they could hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we have seen UON have their rough weeks, particularly towards the end of the season. We were talking about it at the start of this series that UON had a stronger beginning of the season and kind of tailed off a little bit towards the end. But this is feeling a little bit more reminiscent of the UON we saw at the start of the season. This is reminiscent of the UON we've had in previous seasons as well, where they are that strong team. They are a really dominant force in this Elite Series. And they're just starting to really show that in this playoff now.
That they are, and I mean, we'll see how they can continue with it. Jacko, looking for anybody in front of the net. I mean, it looked like the entirety of QUT wanted to make that shot, and yet none of them was able to put it through, so a little bit unfortunate, at least on that occasion. Minute and a half to go. I think we're putting this one under lock and key. It should be a victory one more time, unless something starts here. Save from Eminence off the squishy goal line, 50-50.
Front almost putting QUT up with a chance here. Another attempt from front as well. Eminence there to save it, going for a very high squishy as well out of nowhere. QUT are starting to run out of time. They need 3 goals in less than a minute. Front looking for the pass to center. Jacko goes up into the air, almost gets the double off the backboard as well. Matt couldn't get to the ball in time, and the ball's going to go back down the other end.
Back down the other end, but only briefly. Here we go, Bud. Looking to connect to Eminence. 40 seconds to go. And with QUT on the back foot with hardly any boost as well. Mac did pick up the full boost there, but yeah, I've not seen 3 goals in 30. What I am seeing is a Game 3 situation. UON out in front. Strong showing from Eminence. And QUT, I was worried. More so for them, too, that if they come out flat, they tend to not get themselves back in series. They sometimes go down in sweeps, and unless we see something drastically change in Game 3, that could be the trajectory we stay on here.
I gotta ask Formal, looking at Game 3 now, because we are going to run out of time. We are going to see the ball drop in just a sec, and UON get this game to win, putting them up 2 in the series. Going into Game 3, Formal, if you were coaching QUT, you know how this team has played throughout the season. We know their strengths, we know their weaknesses. What would you be saying to them right now?
My advice to them would be, like, let's approach this next game like we're the team with the lead. Let's get into this next series like we're the ones up 2-0, because that's when QUT is at their best, when they have the confidence to be aggressive, when they're the ones being proactive because they feel like they've had to step on their opponents throughout. It's when they start to play like they're behind that they tend to fall into that deeper hole. So I would be encouraging them to, like, go for that extra challenge. Take that extra risk. Pretend like you have more space behind you that you actually do, because that's when we've seen the best play from them historically.
Absolutely, I tend to agree. Yeah, they've definitely played better in series when they've been up. We have seen those kind of mental shakes and wobbles when they've been down in a series. Almost. What is going on? What was that play from front? Oh, Jacko with the pass to front as well. Kind of goes for the double, gets blocked by Eminence. Just the flip somehow resulted into an extra touch for front. And just put it in front of net. I'm so confused.
Not to say like that's what I was talking about, but that's kind of what I was talking about. They need to play like that. They need to be a bit overly aggressive. They have to trust that they'll get not that second, but that third touch as well. I mean, Front's the kind of player who will make situations like that happen, so hats off to him. First time this series we see QUT in the league.
First time this series, I feel like we've really seen Front at his capacity as well. Like I said at the start, Front is that solo player of this team. We've seen him quieter in previous weeks, in previous seasons as well, but with each game, with each series, he just gets better and better. We know he's highly mechanical, we know what he's capable of, and we're starting to see a showing of that.
That we will. As we watch Eminence now, though, no boost, can't stay with the play. Zora try to take this one off the wall, but you can see, there you go, double commit to go to QUT, try to embrace that chaos, and normally I'd be against it, but in situations like this, I don't know, QUT is that team where it works out for. We had the discussion before about who's the most chaotic. Arguments made for QUT right now, they're up 2-0.
Bar down for Mac. Bar down, off the roof, upside down, in the corner as well, for that ball to just hit the very, very edge of the net in the corner and drop immediately into net. Great shot, great positioning from Mac.
That was exactly what they needed. So now, the 2-0 advantage. Here we go, Jacko. Woo! Almost found the third, but that ball's going back the other way. Mac has to put it to the safety of the corner, but Eminence off the roof is going to have a nice pass down straight to Azura, back over to Eminence, across to Bud. No! Spud shoots up and takes Bud out. The devious Spud nearly sets up a goal back the other way.
Oh no, we're starting to see UON panic just that little bit, and that is all that QT need right now to take advantage and turn things around the other way. They're up 2-0. We've still got more than half a game left, but anything can happen. QT are going to want to hold on to this lead. They're not a team to fall back, I think, too passively and park the bus, especially this early. With the way they're playing right now aggressively, they're just going to run away with more.
And it's really been Front who has been, I think, the player who has brought the aggression more so. I'm seeing Front, who in the first couple games was maybe playing a lot of third man, now is frequently front man. And when I was laughing about the double kick before, Front was kind of the reason for it. Front just has been challenging everything they can, be it teammates or opponents, and it's working out for them. Front with another shot nearly puts it in.
Absolutely, you can see that they've gone into that slight break talking about tactics, talking about what they need to do, and aggression seems to be the name of the game for this team right now. Front, take a bow. What a goal.
That was just another Front play off the roof, the late flick. I mean, it would be nicer if there was a defender there, Morky, but it doesn't matter. It still looks clean, and it's still a 3-0 lead for QUT.
Absolutely. QT are very happy with themselves right now. I would bet UON, although they do have a 2-game buffer in this series, I wouldn't be panicking too hard just yet. These teams are both very adaptable. There's a lot they can do to shake things up, and I wouldn't be surprised if next game is a complete different story to this game.
I could see that happening. I could see that happening as well. It could go either way, but I'm just happy to see QUT come back at this with some fight, and a shutout in Game 3 would be a bit of a statement. I mean, already, I'm just looking at the shot differential between these two sides. 0 shots from UON, Morky. They haven't been able to do anything.
Oh my, I have not checked the stats yet. I did not expect a 0, a donut on the board for UON right now. That is crazy. That is completely different to how they were playing the first 2 games. I don't think UON is playing... I don't think they're playing at the capacity they were the first 2 games, but in saying that, QT have just hugely stepped it up. But we've got a goal down the other end. Bud gets one on the board for UON.
Yeah, that's just going to be Bud sneaking in through that left side. Really well placed. 3-1 lead now. As we cut down a little bit. I mean, look, we've already seen 1 2-goal come back in the final minute of play earlier today. It is to say we don't see another one. It would be a collapse, though, from QUT, who has been dominant thus far. Eminence, another dangerous touch. I mean, UON still fighting.
UON managed to turn this around right now and get another 2 goals, or potentially 3 back, depending if we're going to go to OT or not. I would be surprised, but I would hate to be in QUT's shoes if that were to happen. That would be absolutely devastating. QUT have definitely played the better game over UON
Oh, it's open!
this series. This game. But it's looking dangerous! And we might get that equalizer goal.
Look, Spud is doing their best to ruin this game. We need to get Bud back, but that's okay because Eminence is still there to put the shot through, and all of a sudden, 47 seconds remaining, a legitimate chance for UON to play spoiler. They might take this to overtime. Front wants to deny that, has the reset, uses it to get past Bud, but can't get past 2 diving defenders.
Absolutely not. We're going to see a massive clear out of Eminence, but not enough to get it past Mac, who cuts off the play perfectly. Almost comes in out of nowhere. Eminence did not get the power he wanted to Azora. Azora had no boost anyway. I don't know why we'd be looking for Azora in that situation, but Mac, great timing to cut off the play there and put QT up by 1 more goal and have that extra little buffer.
And I think that should be enough to put this game away. So a late flurry of offense coming from UON is going to fall short. A bump from Bud might have actually been able to do it, but I mean, UON's still attempting. I mean, good dribbling around Mac and Zora. They're shot on, but Mac still comes through with the save, and now time is a bit too far against them. Give that game to QUT, but I mean, this series has come alive, Morgan, and what a time for it to do so.
Oh, absolutely. This is looking so much better as a competition. This is so much more exciting as a game, as a series, as a cast as well. This is looking really, really good. I'm glad to see that we didn't have a shutout from UON. We love a Game 7, and I'm hoping we get it.
We still very well might. Meanwhile, gonna have to gear up and get ready to go. So UON, I mean, we saw how dangerous this team is, and if you want an example of how UON is that never say die team, we saw it in that final minute of play, but we also saw QUT's strength, and just when they get aggressive, when front starts to step forward and be that playmaker that we know they can be. Yeah, it was Mac who got the hat trick, but how many of those were set up from front, just being so aggressive, challenging every touch, and then having the mechanics to back it up as well?
Absolutely. Front was definitely the difference for QT in that game, and that's what we were looking for from the start, right? We were saying that front is the player that makes that difference, because Mac and Jacko, they're great players. They're consistently great players. We need front to step up to the plate, and we were seeing that aggression that last game.
That we were, and we will see some more now. Ooh, dangerous kickoff. One has to play that backward, but all looks good, at least for the time being. Here comes Jacko now. Trying to stay underneath the play, but it will be taken away by Eminence. Azura waiting for a chance. First touch is good. Second touch not there. 4.5 minutes still to go. So early days. No early kickoff goals. But what was that?
What was that? What kind of that? Huh? We don't. Oh my god. Well, we don't usually see many of those whiffs. There was a double commit. It almost looked like Matt kind of landed on Jacko a little bit with the flip, and they both whiffed the save there, just getting in each other's way.
When we say the Mac and Jack connection, we don't mean connecting on defense to take each other out, Morgie. That was an unfortunate mistake for QUT. Again, sometimes those are easy to shake off, but already down 2-1 in this series, that's not how you want to start off a very important game 4.
No, absolutely not, and that would definitely be bothering them in the slightest. But you know, I hope it doesn't get to them too much. I hope it doesn't affect their mental. One thing I was actually noticing, and I was going to make comment on before, and I totally forgot, was you know, chat couldn't see this in between games, but I'm loving the banter between these teams. I think that it creates just such an exciting environment. Like there could be a lot of tension. There could be a lot of stress and pressure. These teams could not get along or whatever like that, but they do get along really well. There's a lot of friendly banter, and I love to see it.
I mean, it's a third place match as well, so
yeah, sure.
And not to diminish again, you know, there are prize pools here, so there's some prize on the line, but I think for both these teams, considering their expectation and their drive to make it to that final, when you don't make it, there's a lot of stress that gets alleviated, and this is a fun series for them. It does kind of have that scrimmy attitude, which I like to see as well. It's still fun, it's still exciting, and you know both these teams would much rather win this one than lose it outright, but let's see where we go from here. Front, trying to do a fair bit of work across the middle, can't do too much more after that second touch. Azura now is going to bring it back together.
Ball is in the corner with 3 of QUT's defenders in that same corner as well. Going unable to capitalize. What is that pinch? What's the speed on that shot?
That was 153, by the way. Probably the fastest goal we've seen in a hot minute here at the AEL. It's enough to increase the lead 2 now in favor of UON.
That was a great pinch. Perfect timing off those 2 players to send that ball into net. Azora looking for another shot there. Can't get it past Mac though. Ball is loose now with Bud, who's going to pass it to Eminence. Looks for the pass, or looks for the center, but Azora not there.
Yeah, even Twitch chat is saying 150 is absurd. It really is. That's probably going to be our goal of the night so far. I'm curious to see what our grand final will bring, but at least in terms of this series, that was going to be tough to beat. Still 2 minutes left on the clock. UON feeling pretty good about their chances at this stage, although we've seen some crazy finishes. I always go to like, well, how many shots have come through? It's only been 2 aside. Make that 3 now for QUT, but the point is there hasn't been enough offensive pressure that makes me think, yeah, they can find these 2 goals. Maybe they get something here, but Jacko not in position to challenge the top corner.
Not in position indeed. We did see a little bit of that aggression out of front there, but I feel like for the majority of this game, we've seen UT fall back into that slightly more passive kind of style of play. And it didn't work for them in the first 2 games. It doesn't seem to be working for them now. They need to continue that game-free play style. They need to continue that aggression if they want to stay alive in this series.
Yeah, we'll see what they can get as the ball makes its way to the corner. We'll see. Find that fighting edge. Well, this looks good. but not quite good enough. There was a surprise Eminence hiding behind the post, able to make the save. Mac now is going to try to get that ball centered. This time it's a Bud hiding behind the post as post defense being executed. Various levels of efficiency, but enough to fall out of the net, at least for now.
Not if Jacko manages to get this double. Unfortunately, just goes a little bit too high. The follow-up shot getting blocked as well. Front trying to take one, take a third, but we're seeing Eminence in the corner. Now Bud taking the ball, trying to take the ball downfield. We're seeing a lot of back and forth between both teams right now. No one able to really take any real dangerous opportunities. Mac with a flick though. Azora there in time.
Yeah, easy read from Azora coming through that corner. And again, if you ever want to know why we hate stationary goalkeeps, it's so you can make saves like that coming out of that corner right there. I mean, it's always good to point out when it's a negative, point out the positive. Either way, 26 remaining, good touchdown, but Eminence with the squishy keeps it out. UON determined to keep this game a shutout as we hit our final 15 seconds.
Yeah, almost a fantastic shot from Jacko there, but yeah, Eminence just playing incredibly well in defense. I feel like we've seen so many more squishy saves tonight, or even just attempts at squishy saves tonight than we've seen almost in the entire season, I would say, but they seem to be doing wonders for the teams we've seen play.
Yeah, just shout out to Squishy, I suppose. Today is a tribute to them. But UON with that win, it's a 3-1 lead now in this series. Eminence putting those two through. And QUT, it's a tough spot to be in after such a strong Game 3 as well, to get shut out in this fourth game. And to only 2 shots against them as well. I know when we hit the final 2 minutes, it was still 2 shots apiece. QUT, they had the flurry of offense at the end, but it was not enough to push them over. That's got to be frustrating. That's got to be grating. I mean, 11 shots on, 7 saves for UON. How do you break this defense, Morky?
It's tricky, Formal, because like look at the UON side of things. Eminence in particular sitting at the top, 819 points, 2 goals, 6 saves. That's huge. Eminence is putting in a lot of work for UON right now. QUT, it's tricky. Like I said, like we talked about before, you know, you called it earlier. They need to be careful with how passive they're being. They need to bring in that aggression a lot more. Some of those shots you can't save. A pinch, unfortunate. That's not an easy goal to save. 153k per hour pinch is not so savable unless you're a top level RLCS player. I wouldn't expect that.
Even then,
even then, it's insane. But you know, there were 2 shots that game. It wasn't just the pinch. QUT need to be careful on defense. But so do UON. Sorry, where's our third man?
That's a very good question. I mean, one gets demoed. Eminence does what they can, but where's Spud? There's Spud, but where is Spud?
Oh no, the demo as well. That would have thrown off rotation. I completely missed that before. It's tricky to play around demos, and something, you know, we haven't seen too much tonight, Formal. It comes with aggressive play, demos and bumps. We haven't seen too many. Maybe that needs to be QUT's play right now. Maybe they need to continue demoing UON to keep that defender out of net.
And I'm actually a little bit surprised we haven't seen more demos, because that's something that QUT has been kind of known for, I feel like, before coming into this matchup. So hopefully they'll be able to bring that back. I think is a very, you know, strong avenue to success. And that's where you want to be driving more times than not. Here we go, though. It will be UON on the attack. Bud underneath with the boost. Tries to get over Mac, who reacts nicely. Azura, a little bit sloppy in collecting the ball, but that might work to the benefit of UON, as it's a delayed midfield pass. Winning out the 50. Bud throws it straight into front, who nearly connected to Jacko. That would have been a fantastic shot.
And Jacko keeping the ball in the corner as well. Managed to get it over 1, but Azora getting the clear on down the other end. Front there to get the clear for UON as well, but the ball has gone loose in the way of UON. Eminence on the ball now. What can he do? Can he get it past Mac? No, not quite. Bud there as well, but QUT able to get the clear just in time.
QUT doing just enough consistently to keep themselves out in front in this game, and to respond to a shutout with another shutout. I'm sure that's the goal from QUT right now. A 1-0 win. I mean, I feel it's so difficult to shut out this UON side. Eventually, you expect a player like Eminence to find a way to punch one through. That's why my eyes are on them. That challenge, though, is left wanting. Now pass back, but in an awkward spot. Here comes QUT. Find the centering play. Max stays with it, but can't do too much after that.
Yeah, Zora being super careful. Eminence with the dribble, breaking ankles, getting it around the defender. Who was that sitting at the back? I think it was Jacko. Azora with the pass. Oh, oh my god, what a dribble around the defender.
As we were just saying, I feel like Eminence is due for one. There it is. Tie ball game.
Tie ball game indeed. Still plenty of time left. No one able to park the bus just yet. They don't want this to go to OT. UON wants to end this right here, right now. UT need to stay alive. They need to do something quickly. Front is the man to do it. He's got the ball in the corner, but gets it taken away from him. Gets it stripped by Bud.
Well, here comes Jacko, though. Or, sorry, it's Mako this time. Jacko is back. However, the reset doesn't able to do too much after that. Mac will regain control middle of the pitch. There's Jacko, who actually didn't come at that one with full boost. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Either way, it's a bump in front of the net. Yet Bud will push it to safety.
Good read there by Bud as well to recognize that maybe his third man was going to be in trouble, and ultimately the bump did leave the net open for a split second, but Bud was able to stop QUT from capitalizing on that. We're going to see a shot out of Bud.
Eminence!
Another one out of Eminence as well, but it gets saved. Much chaos right now.
Yeah, Eminence, a bit unfortunate they weren't able to finish that one off, and now with 100 seconds remaining, we're seeing defenders bump into each other. QUT, they need something here. Not getting it straight away. Ball back down in the corner. Eminence tries to push it across that midfield line. It's caught by Jacko. Has the reset. Has the corner. Midfield. It's again front, maintaining control. QUT so desperate to try and hang on to this one. Not able to keep it fully together. It's going to be a midfield demo. Another midfield bump, perhaps. Eminence steps forward. Shots on. There's the save. I didn't even see Mac there.
Oh, very lucky indeed. Bud going for the shot! Oh my god, almost the game getting shot off Bud. Still somehow manages to get it. I feel like the shot was 99% off Eminence just then. Bud with the lightest little touch at the end there. Just making sure it goes over the top of Jacko. UON are up in what could potentially be this final game.
I mean, insane effort from Eminence and Bud. Bud getting 2 cracks at it. Eminence, 2 great setups. I don't know how that first save was made, though. It looked like the perfect shot. Still, they get rewarded. Under a minute to go. QUT is desperate right now. Double demo from Mac, but they don't demo Eminence, who still finds a touch on the ball. Now throws it back to Azura, and they're just playing keep away as much as possible on the UON side.
Oh, absolutely. UON are trying as hard as they can to just force as many 50s, as many touches. The shot there goes a little too high. QT, almost 20 seconds left. They've got to do something now. They've got to get the ball back down their end. It goes up, touches the roof. Front looking for the shot, gets it over Eminence. Is it going to hit the backboard? Go for a double. We can't find a touch. It's gone loose again. Formal, we're running out of time.
Front, desperation. Only throws it to Eminence. Mac needs to get this center. Jacko has the boost, has the touch. Mac wants to redirect it. It was a pinch attempt, and it's not going to hit its mark. 0 seconds on the clock. Mac can't get there in time, and UON takes third.
UON played out of their minds just then. Bud with what was, I would call the game-winning save just then, right on the line. Almost got faked out by 2 of QUT's offensive players going for the shot just then. Didn't get faked out, got the save. This game did not go to OT. Formal, we have still not seen Champions Field tonight.
No, we have not. Only going 5 games this time around. UON, though, showing why at times they did look like the second best team in this event. I mean, yeah, QUT, they showed some aggression. They showed some signs of life, but realistically, as soon as front was kind of kept away from the play, we couldn't see too much from them after that. So hats off to that UN side of victory. Well deserved. I just wish we saw that team last week, Morgie, because, again, this was the U1 we were expecting to see in the semifinals. It's been unfortunate we didn't get them then, but hey, good victory nonetheless.
Absolutely. The UON we just saw, that game against Griffith, that would have gone to a Game 7. That would have been super intense. I mean, actually, maybe it wouldn't even have gone to Game 7. Maybe UON would have run away quicker with the win. Yeah, that's super unfortunate. They could have found themselves in the grand final.
Yeah, but this time around, they do find themselves coming out a little bit short. Now, we have an interview with Bud, I believe, right around the corner. So let's have a chat with him now. Coming off of that big third place victory, Bud, first of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
How were you? I mean, I feel like you guys are. I've said this time and time again. You're one of the teams with the strongest mental game in this league. You've had reverse sweeps. You've had plenty of Game 7s as well. How are you feeling coming into tonight? Were there any nerves?
Nah. Today was just it was just a game. Well, like it's just third place. It's not the final. Like going for first, so we weren't that nervous. We're just gonna play it, have fun, see what happens. If we lose, we lose. We win, we win.
So I couldn't help but, notice Morgie, of course, the one who first brought it up. There was a bit of banter going on between the two teams, but it felt very friendly in nature, very jovial. Have you been scrimming with these guys a bit? Are you familiar with them as players, or was it just kind of the nature of a third place series?
I think it's the nature of the third place series. Like we don't really scrim together, or we don't scrim QT at all, or not since last semester. But it's just a friendly third place match.
No, fair enough. It's always good to see. We were having a bit of a giggle about it on stream, saying that it's always lovely to see that friendly banter and that familiarity with one another. Speaking of familiarity, I can't talk tonight at all. How are things shaping up for next year? Are we going to see returning players? What are the plans?
So we should see at least Eminence and Azora back. We'll have the actual third was supposed to play for this team this semester. He'll be back playing for the top team, and we might see me or Speedy in here. I don't know. Or maybe Aptix or Phoenix might come back. It just depending who's playing better on the tryouts and who we want in the top.
A lot of depth on the UON side. Look, I have to ask about the alter ego Spud that's come out. Not sure how much you've been following that, but is Spud, would Spud be the evil alter ego or the good alter ego of Bud?
Probably the evil.
That's what I thought.
I don't know why we were so locked on to calling you Spud last time, but it just came up. I think somebody. Oh no, actually,
we named names here. It was BK.
We were convinced that BK said Spud at the start, and I don't know what was going on in our heads. It was like a new player, somebody we haven't seen before. We were talking about Spud like he was just, but even then,
no need to explain it. It's the evil alter ego. We knew it all along. All right, it's come through. Either way, though, end of a season. Again, congratulations on third place. Any final words? Any people you'd like to thank for this season?
I'd like to thank everyone at Yawn for being here, hopefully supporting, and all the supporters if they're in the chat. Thanks for coming around each week and supporting us.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you as well for playing in this event. Grand final right around the corner. As we sign off, who's winning this one? New South Wales or Griffith?
I want to go for Griffith, but I think UNSW is going to win it today.
Well, there you have it. Spoiled it for everybody. Sorry. Bud says New South Wales. We'll find out if he's right when we return. Welcome back, everybody. Moments away from our grand finals, but because there was an update today and we have to make sure Tadagane remembers to update this time, we're going to go to an interview. We have QUT Mac joining us right now. Condolences on missing out on that third place. However, strong showing, strong series for QUT. How are you feeling at the end of it all?
I'm feeling really good, actually. That series was probably the most fun I've had all season, so yeah, it was good.
One thing we spoke about this in the last interview, but we noticed you guys having a lot of friendly banter in between the games, which is always fun to see. Was the chicken good? We saw comments about that in the chat. Was that all fun?
I didn't actually have any chicken. I was just trying to throw them off their game, but apparently that didn't work. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, didn't work out this time, but maybe next time, who knows? It definitely felt like it was a casual attitude. You said yourself that was one of the more fun series. I was surprised to hear, though, that you weren't ever really scrimming with that team either. Is that probably going to be, future scrim partners, more looking to hook up with the UON team?
Wait, what? UON? Wait, do they want to scrim us?
I don't know. I'm just asking, do you want to scrim them? Is that something you want to do in the future?
Yeah, we should scrim anyone. We need it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of teams are in that position, though. I feel like anytime we brought up training, it was very rare to hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, been scrimming," or been in free play or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are uni students; it's fair enough. I gotta say, if not UON, then are there any other teams that you would look forward to a rematch against?
It'd be UNSW a million times over because they're such a strong team. And it's fun playing against a strong team because then you know like where your weaknesses lie and yeah.
So, I mean, you got to play against New South Wales last week as well. Came up short. Any advice to Griffith right now going against this New South Wales team and how maybe they can beat them in this grand final match?
My advice, just hang the controller up. It's wraps. They're done. Nah, they got it, honestly. Like, UNSW, they'll overcommit a lot on pressure. Like, once they start, getting that momentum, they'll have all three in the front half. And then if they're well enough to defend, then they can counterattack and have a chance. So I think, it's not one-sided, but if they play their cards right, and they have a chance of winning for sure.
Okay, in saying that, the last thing I'll ask, sorry to keep you on for a sec, but if you had to predict what the series score is going to be, what would you say?
I'm going to go 4-1. Is that it? It's 4-1? Yeah, 4-1.
All right. I like hearing that. Well, last chance speaking to you for the season. Any final congratulations, people, players, anyone you want to thank for how it's been?
Oh, Front, this is his last season. He won't be here next season, so I just want to say thank you to him. He was a key player in our team, and best of luck for him in his future.
Good luck to Front moving forward as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Mac, but it is now time to start breaking down this grand final matchup, Morgie. I mean, Front said it best. You want to say it's going to be close. You want to give Griffith that chance, but even giving them one game, it feels like a stretch almost.
I hate to agree. I mean, we have seen UNSW lose a couple of games throughout the season. Unfortunately, for all the other teams, not a series just yet. Tonight could be the night, but if history goes the way it goes, it's not looking overly likely.
Yeah, it's not looking that crazy. I mean, just look at that last series, 4-0. New South Wales dominated that. They took it to a next gear, it felt like, in this, playoff format. And now, a best-of-7, a Griffith team. We've seen upsets in the past. Don't get me wrong. And I've already looked at that chat. There's a lot of Go Goblins there already. They want to see that upset happen. But if it is going to, who is the player that steps up?
Oh, that's tricky for me. I think from Griffith's side, for me, it would be Ultraviolet. I feel like Ultraviolet has been that player throughout the season who does create a lot of good plays for his teammates. Ultraviolet is very consistent as well. Just generally a strong player, doesn't have too many off days. ADOS and Exile as well also it's tricky. It's tricky to pull out a key player from this team. I will say more so than a lot of other rosters.
Meanwhile, when you look at New South Wales, take a pick. Any of them, I feel like can step up at times. Obviously, the big names, though, have been Steve and Tadagane. Tadagane, in particular, has been the bastion of consistency throughout. Steve, maybe a little less consistent, but it's had that wow factor, the certified Steve shots. It feels like we get one per series at some stage. And even Diggs, as we saw in that semifinal, had their pop-off moments. I mean, all three members of this team can stand up tall.
Oh, absolutely. I think for me personally, like it's usually a star player I'll look to make the huge difference in the game. But for UNSW, it's actually, to me, I would say the least experienced player. It's Diggs that I look at to be the difference for this side. They can rely on Tata and Steve all they want, but Diggs has come a long, long way as a player, not just as a team player in this roster, but mechanically, individually, solo plays. He's starting to do it all now. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, it does lie on Diggs, not as to whether the team wins because they haven't lost yet, but as to how well they are performing.
Well, we will see what kind of form Diggs might be in as players are making their way on the pitch. This is it, our grand finals here for AEL 2024 Semester 2 Elite Series. Best of 7, 5 minutes on the clock. We are underway. New South Wales looking good in blue. Griffith Goblins, they're rocking the red. And they're already on the back foot as New South Wales is coming out fast.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't expect any less out of this New South Wales side. Steve taking the ball into centre off the corner there. Diggs challenges early, but doesn't get the block. Almost looking like it would stay in Griffith's half for a second there, but just as quick as they lost possession, UNSW have picked it back up again.
And let's see what more they can find as Diggs, full tank of gas, throws it back over to Steve. Tadagane still on the attack. Still waiting to see if Griffith can clear it past that midfield line, and maybe there's a chance here. Quite held just yet. Diggs doing their job. Gets underneath one, not past the second, but an awkward touch does allow Griffith a little bit of a sniff of the blue side of the field. Ultraviolet's going to take advantage. Maybe something through the corner. Not quite. Steve shuts it down.
Still have managed to retain possession for a little bit there before we see the ball bang down all the way the other end. Tadagane, a nice little drop down of a pass to Steve, sees the defender falling from the top of the net and just puts it straight underneath him.
There's our first goal. Steve putting it through, as you said, right on that left side. Ball goes in. 1-0 lead. Didn't take long. New South Wales out in front, and unfortunately, that first minute of play, it felt, almost entirely dominated by the New South Wales side.
Absolutely. Tata now dribbling through the air, looking for a flip reset, goes underneath, fakes out the challenge on the first player, and again, we've seen another shot go to the left, right underneath the defender in net. To the side.
And the scary thing about that shot as well, Exile was there. Exile thought that shot would be straight on, but somehow Tadagane found a way to not only get the fake, but find the placement afterwards as well, just leading too far out in front of the defender. That, again, there's a reason why Tadagane has been that guy second season in a row, and it's shots like that.
Absolutely. It's just hugely testament to Tata's, just his car control in the air. Like you said, it looked to any defender, to any good, great, amazing defender, that looked like the ball was going directly center of the net. Somehow managed to wiggle his car right at the end and get the car just slightly to the side of that ball and put it to the left. It's fantastic.
I want to see players like Tadagane attack, other precise driving games like Trackmania. I want to see what that would be like, because I reckon, with a bit of practice, could dominate it. If you hit shots like that, yeah, I very much transferable skills. But that's for the offseason. That's not for the time being. Here comes Exile down the middle. First touch is good. Adolf wants to follow it up. Griffith looks to get on the board, but again, the attack, they get one shot, and then they're back on defense.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Griffith are a great team, and I would hate to be in their shoes right now. There's nothing in particular that they're doing wrong, but UNSW are just managing to shut out any opportunity Griffith do take. The moment Griffith has possession, the moment they pass it or clear it upfield, UNSW are just there to absolutely smother them.
Yeah, not even halfway through our first game, already a 3-0 lead. ADOS can bring something back the other side, looking for a ground pinch. Instead, just sees a whole lot of digs. I do hope to see more from Griffith moving forward as well. They need to get more attacking opportunities. Halfway through this first game, they have 0 shots on the board, a chance for their first, but even then, these touches just aren't on target.
No, they're not just yet. We're going to see Exile make an attempt here. Great ball control, but Tiggs just, again, flying through the air to smother him. Not giving Griffith much of an attempt, but just as I say that, ADOS comes out of nowhere and puts Griffith on the board.
That's what we need to see. ADOS just kind of cheeky in how far forward they were playing. It was always going to be a difficult shot, but the pass was on point. They connect. Griffith gets on the board. I feel like that's the kind of setup and shot, though, that only work a couple of times before, you know, New South Wales will start to expect it.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, we spoke earlier on in the night about kind of sitting still in net and how dangerous that can be. You need momentum going into saves. You need to be coming into a save fast so you can cover any position of the net. It's not often that we'll see any players from this UNSW side, particularly Steve, just sitting in net like he was.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward from Steve, and, well, the end result, not too great. Still, a lot of time left in this game. A 3-1 advantage as Tadagane had a good little touch, but wasn't able to entirely follow up. Here we go. Now back into that corner. Tadagane trying to stay underneath it, as they're going to throw a bit more centered. A lot of boost being burned by New South Wales, but they're still staying forward, and something to keep our eyes on, all right? Max said it in that interview. Sometimes New South Wales, they might overextend. They might get overconfident. We rarely see that in Game 1, but it's something that might sneak into their gameplay as the series progresses.
I do tend to agree, but at the same time, there is no speedier team than UNSW. As quickly as they push up, as quickly as their third man pushes all the way up into offense, they somehow manage to track back quicker than anybody can take advantage of, and we've seen it throughout the entire season.
As another goal gets put in, this time courtesy of Diggs, meaning, well, you know, everybody now on New South Wales has had a chance to score a goal, so sharing the love, sharing the load, and, well, they all share the lead and the victory when it's all said and done. 38 seconds remaining, not enough time for 3 goals, in my humble opinion. It's going to be New South Wales taking game number 1 as we start to hit a little bit of garbage time to see if any other teams can seek a goal through.
Absolutely. Just a goal, just anything to give Griffith that little bit of momentum and that little bit of faith going into the next game would mean wonders to them right now. They don't necessarily need to win this game, they just need that momentum. But it's looking less and less likely as the clock ticks down. They do have a goal on the board. They have scored against UNSW. We have seen the cracks, but not enough as of yet.
As time ticks away, we're going to hit that 0 on the clock, and it's going to be New South Wales taking game number 1. A dominant showing, I dare say. Outside of a cheeky little pass, which was a goal well deserved, you're not going to beat New South Wales only putting 3 shots on.
Absolutely not. UNSW have just been dominant coming out of the gates in this game. They are really putting the test to Griffith right now. Griffith need to adapt. They need to, like you said earlier, take advantage of Mac's advice before and get the ball back down the other end quickly enough to get it past UNSW's third man.
We'll see if they'll get a chance as we get geared up to go into our second game. So far today, the winner of game number 1 has gone on to take on game number 2 as well. We haven't had that back and forth yet. Now would be as fine a time as any to kind of bunk the trends, as it were, for the Griffith side. Let's see if they can find some of that aggression as everyone does seem to jump in at the last moment. There we go. No pauses needed. Game 2 underway.
Was almost looking a little bit reminiscent of that last series and the pause we had, but lucky all players are in, no issues, everybody's fine, everybody's dandy. Looking forward to a good second game here. Diggs gets blocked. We're seeing Griffith with an attempt here, but Tata with the save.
Big save from Tata, who's going forward yet again. Has Diggs underneath, but they're unable to connect. ADOS will be the one to clear it out, and now it's Exile, middle of the pitch. ADOS looking to find the teammate, but already Exile pulled away from the play. A little bit too long on the setup. Both teams very quick to the ball. Fast-paced first 30 seconds here in game number 2.
Indeed, this is very quick. We're seeing UNSW again. There's that really heavy third man push all the way up into offense, almost capitalized on by Griffith. To see Diggs now looking for a center ball to Steve, who gets the touch. The shot goes a little bit too wide. ADOS there in time. Diggs looking again for Tata, but doesn't quite get it enough to him.
Didn't get quite put it where they wanted to, and now that ball is going to come through the corner. Exile and ADOS, they hit each other, not the ball. Tanagane, one defender to beat. Tries to go over the top. Ultraviolet has the speed, though, to stay behind it, and fortunately so, because of which they're able to get the save.
Diggs with a nice little pop-up over two defenders. Couldn't get it to Tata, though, who jumped just a little bit too early. Ultraviolet looking for the center as well. It gets pinched by Tata. The ball's already gone back down the other way.
Here comes Exile looking for Ultraviolet. They don't connect. As ADOS tries to put one on, but again, defense always there to challenge these touches, forcing these 50s. Diggs forcing the ball on the right side of the pitch as well, as Steve will follow it up. Eyes on Diggs. They need to make a play. They can't, so Tanagane in defense has to go to the safety.
Yeah, it's looking a lot shakier from UNSW this game. Either that or Griffith have managed to step up a little bit and adapt to UNSW's playstyle. We've seen ADOS now looking for a center pass to Exile. Manages to pass it back to Ultraviolet, but Diggs there for the save. It's still dangerous. There's still plenty of time. We get a demo as well. Shot the Doomsy's not quite there either, and UNSW back with possession again.
Oh, that was very dangerous at the tail end of it all. Steve, though, fortunate enough to make that save. Ultraviolet will come through the corner, or will they? Actually, they're going to go a bit more centered with it as well. Has ADOS touch on far corner. Steve rotates back, still stays underneath. Middle of the field leads to a pause. We have some internet issues, it looks like, coming out of the New South Wales side.
Yeah, might be speaking to how they're playing right now. That kind of scattered play. Maybe there have been net issues and they're only just calling it now. But yeah, like Formal said, we have had a pause. We've still got half a game left, 0-0 on the board. Plenty of time for either team to do a bit of damage.
All right, so wait, I just realized, how does so obviously when pause is called, right, the players have to like type out the pause in the chat, as it were, and the pause came from Tanagane, who somehow wrote pause backwards to call for it.
Oh, I've done that before. I think it's I've done that before when my controller has been playing up and there's been a bit of stick drift and the stick's pulling to the side, and somehow you type backwards. That has happened to me before. I absolutely believe that.
So and it was a controller issue cited as the reason for the pause. So we've solved the mystery. It makes sense. It looks like it's stick drift issue then. It's the most likely cause, but it looks like things are working now. So we will be jumping back into the game. Obviously, still 0-all. Back to a kickoff. Here we go. Second half of game number 2. So far, so good for the Griffith side, keeping this game tied 0-all.
No worries. Going back into the game off kickoff. Nobody's scored just yet, so probably, I guess, like, best time for a controller. I have issues anyway, luckily for UNSW here.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, we'll see if Griffith can take advantage of it. I mean, the thing is, even though, the score is still 0-0, make that 1-0 Steve shot straight down the middle.
Yeah, Steve, who's typically been quiet a lot of weeks, manages to get a nice bang of a shot here. Great pass from Tata as well to center that. Steve just flew in, easy shot, nice tap in, good control of the ball to send that into net.
Send that one through, and with that, it's a 1-0 lead now, favoring, again, the New South Wales team, who continue to rock on. And even though the scoreline may be close, what scares me is the fact we've only seen one shot on target so far from the Griffith side. Diggs over the top, 2-0 lead.
2-0 already. It seems like all tech issues have been solved and UNSW is back playing on point. Ultraviolet just pushing up a little bit there. Didn't see Diggs in the air going for the shot, and ultimately the ball went straight over the top of him.
Yeah, it was just a good shot, good placement, good goal, and a really good lead, I dare say, for this New South Wales side. Should this trend continue, very likely they'll continue to stay out on top. I mean, we just need more shots. We need more attacking pressure, but it's just looking so similar to our series last week between New South Wales and QUT. When this team is on, you get so few opportunities to attack. Another dangerous touch from Steve. This time it's saved.
Oh, absolutely. The percentage of possession or the percentage of the ball being kept in one half during some of these series against UNSW, it's so one-sided, and it allows them to take shot after shot and forcing the other team to take save after save, losing as much boost as possible, put them down to nothing, and having to make attempts on saves that are going at the speed UNSW can shoot at is just impossible.
Well, there's a chance for Exile, but it's not going to come in. Swing and a miss from ADOS as well. A little bit awkward across the board. Final minute of play here in the second game. Still looking for something out of this Griffith side to get them back in the series. Ultraviolet throws it down. This looked good. Exile went high with it. I thought they would have gone for a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it almost seemed like that was the goal there, but it just went a little bit too high. Diggs was very, very easily on the backboard, funny enough, without boost to get that save as well. Carter dropping down from the backboard just now to get another save on the board for UNSW. Griffith are just being absolutely shut out defensively.
Oh, diving save from Ultraviolet. All out, and now ADOS is going to try to bring this one back up the other way. Good little bump starts things off, but it's Ultraviolet who will try to finish. Top bin, not in. Tadagane helps escort that one to safety.
You're right indeed, but with 2 seconds left on the board, we've gotten a shot out of Exile, managed to put something on the scoreboard for Griffith. They're still technically alive in this, but it would require a kickoff goal to equalize.
Here we go, 2 seconds left. Can they get that last goal? Ball up in the air, and it just falls straight down onto ADOS, who's going to go for the flick. Is there a chance here? No, from behind the save is made. And for the second game in a row, New South Wales finishes on top.
Pretty much exactly where we expected New South Wales to be at this point of the series. Like Formal said before, we have the team who has won the first game in any series tonight has gone on to win the second game as well. I think it's just law at this point. But Griffith still have a chance to keep themselves in this. They need to win this game 3. They don't want it to go to match point because a reverse sweep against UNSW would be the craziest thing I've heard all year.
Yeah, it feels like such a stretch to even consider that. Griffith, they've got to find a way to get into the headspace of New South Wales, and they've got to do it sooner rather than later. And I worry that a Game 3 loss might be pushing it too little too late, but never know. Still got to play Game 3. There's a lot of assumptions going on at the moment. Let's see how our third battle will shape out. DHF Stadium. Our players are on the pitch one more time. 5 more minutes on the clock. Game number 3 is New South Wales up by 2, looking for their third.
I'm hoping Griffith can do something now because, like I said before, it almost seems like it'll be too little too late. If they can't win this game against UNSW, it'll feel like their confidence will be completely shot, and I wouldn't blame them. These games have been super rough. UNSW have just been playing so strong.
Yes, they have, and what more they can find. Here we go. Underneath, Diggs. Nice touch. Ball bounces off the roof. ADOS tries to make it safe, but he can't. So we see another touch. Second touch off the wall from Tadagane. That's just straight in. The cleanest double of the night makes it 1-0.
Absolutely. That was a fantastic touch off the backboard. Tada just had to simply rotate his car, get a light touch, peg the ball straight down into net. Easiest double we've seen from this side in probably a while, actually.
Just clean. Exile, though, off the kickoff keeps the game interesting. Griffith responds.
Definitely not the type of kickoff we usually see UNSW lose, but Steve, you can see there the cheat or the second man just pushing up a little bit too fast, drove past the ball and wasn't able to do any damage with it in time.
Here we go, Tadagane. Across the middle of the field. Wants to reset. Instead gets bumped. Ball nearly falls in the net. Will be pushed to the side. Here we go, Steve. Again, around the corner, but isn't able to do too much after that. Exile swings and misses. Tadagane looking for Steve. Actually takes the second touch themselves. Steve tries to recover. It's awkward. It's dangerous. It's still not in. Diggs finally rolls it through.
After our 153 km/h pinch last game, we've gone from that to probably, I would say, our slowest our slowest goal of the night. Diggs putting that one in is a nice little comparison to show the depth of goals we get.
There we go, Diggs. Ball dribble, but can't go too much further than that. Now the ball's going to come back up the other way. Steve looking to stay kind of behind that ball. Around the corner we go as second touch wants to get things a bit more centered. Diggs puts it up, but not in. Corner to corner. AGON needs to start thinking about rotating back.
As strong as UNSW are, I wouldn't put any team in this league in a comfortable position with only a 1-goal buffer. I think they'd be a lot more comfortable with 2, so they'll definitely be looking for that soon. And the shot from ADOS like that, and almost another shot from Ultraviolet, just goes to show how dangerous Griffith can be when they're given a little bit of leeway.
That ball placement from Ultraviolet looks like he couldn't fully decide if it was meant to be a pass or a shot. Still another attempt right here. They're going to chase it to the backboard. Diggs throws it down. Dangerous spot. Exile almost turned that into a very dangerous shot. Instead, we go to 3 minutes remaining. Diggs with possession. Exile tries to challenge. Ball still on that red side of the field, but not going anywhere anytime fast. Or is it? AGON doesn't get there.
Well, I've got to ask, we're talking about UNSW a lot and how strong this team is. We were looking, at the roster at the start of the night for both teams. At the start of the series. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is needing to step up for Griffith right now? Because I can't really pick anyone standing out in particular.
Ultraviolet's had a lot of good touches. I've liked Ultraviolet this series. I want to see more from ADOS because we know how strong they can be. And it's opportunities like that you need ADOS to hit moving forward.
No, I tend to agree. ADOS, we've seen some really strong weeks from ADOS. We've seen ADOS almost, I would say, carry the Griffith side on some weeks in particular. Exile as well, we know has a lot of strengths, and I feel like they're just being a little bit quiet tonight.
I mean, that looked good initially, but again, just unable to sneak that one through. 2 minutes remaining in our third game, and it's still Griffith on the back foot. This has been a low shooting affair. Very, very nervy game from both sides. Very, very tense. AGON wants to put them ahead 3-1. We go to the opposite side and still no goals.
And Diggs coming off the roof now. Steve takes it off him though, doesn't want the pass to go that direction. But a pass back, almost own goals, kind of sets up Exile anyway. That was almost very dangerous for UNSW.
That would have been an amazing goal on one hand, but a disaster as well on the other. He hit 120, still to go. Here comes Exile. Shot was on, but the save is still going to be made. Now AGON looking for that next touch. We'll go across that middle of the field. ADOS trying to rotate back, trying to make some semblance of a save. We're going to throw it forward into Diggs. Towards the backboard we go. All still not in. Minute 3 on the clock. Ultraviolet. Out of that back corner. Here comes Exile. Shut down. AGON going to go ahead and rotate that one back as Steve wants to stay with this play. Ball making its way towards the net. Still no goal to be had. 45 seconds, Griffith. They're desperate for that goal, I dare say, Morgie. They need it now.
They need to keep themselves alive in this, but it's tricky when Steve is coming at the net like that. UNSW, again, just seeming to hold possession a lot better than Griffith right now. Although I will say it does seem like a bit of a standoff goal-wise. We haven't seen a goal in a while. Like, you really, right now, Diggs, Tata, really?
I mean, Tata just had enough of the stalemate, said, fine, Diggs, put it in the air for me. I'll do it myself. Diggs complied. Goal was sick. 3-1 lead. AGON has just been unstoppable when they choose to be this series.
Oh, absolutely. Almost another one in the bag as well for AGON. I think you're right. Tata is playing very well tonight. Steve is, Diggs is, they all are. It's crazy what this team can do when they're playing at their best, and they absolutely are wanting to do that in this finals. They want the clean sheet. They don't want Griffith to get a game on the board. They want to sweep them, and it's looking more and more likely. Formal. Game 4 we go.
Game 4 we go. New South Wales, 1 game away, 5 minutes away from the perfect season, undefeated. Only 2 game losses, 0 match losses. If they could do it one more time, that would be an insane statistic. You know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of Power a little bit. And the run they had during RLCS. We got our own little mini version of Power here with New South Wales. And I think they might be able to do it.
It is a little reminiscent of Power, isn't it? And yeah, this team, I mean, they've always been a strong team previous seasons as well. Obviously, UNSW were our champs from last season. So going into this grand final, they were definitely a favourite. And as Formal said, having a complete clean sheet throughout the season is an insane statistic. It's not been done in the past. They're looking to do that today, and it's looking very likely at the moment.
Is looking more likely than we have seen to this point. Now, as we gear up into what could be our final game, Griffith back against the wall. What can they bring to the table? How can they stop all of this momentum coming from New South Wales? Let's put 5 more minutes on the clock to decide it. The reverse sweep or the series ender. It starts now.
A reverse sweep, like I said before, a reverse sweep against UNSW would be actually insane. I feel like I wouldn't imagine that in my wildest dreams. But anything can happen. We've seen crazy things happen, not just in the University League, but in Rocket League in general. It would be the tiniest, minute little chance right now, but Griffith are absolutely going to go for it.
Yeah, that they are. They're going to try to seal this one away. Reese Diggs already looking for some cross-pass action over to Steve, who should slow it down. Going to try to drop it to Tadagane. This connection's been good, but because of the little teammate contact, Tada can't stay on the play, so defense will pull.
Almost a great pinch into net. It would be nice to see another one of those tonight. Tada just not in the right position. A shot of Exile as well. He's just getting there in time. UNSW looking scrambled in defense.
Oh, there it is!
Griffith taking advantage of it. A shot on the board for Ultraviolet.
The last hurdle is often considered the hardest, and I mean, that is not the same New South Wales we've seen to this point. Panicked defense, terrible rotations, and eventually they get punished. Ultraviolet making it 1-0.
Yeah, Griffith coming in right at the perfect moment now. Game 4. They need to do something now. We're going to see another shot attempt, but Steve on the backboard there to make the save. ADOS with another one. Oh, what's happening?
Oh, it's just a complete breakdown right now of the defense from New South Wales. Ultraviolet and ADOS, a beautiful connection, and I mean, from a team that was showing us no signs of life, it felt like, to suddenly come alive with their back against the wall. Griffith is not done yet. However, this kickoff is dangerous.
Oh, not the kickoff that Griffith was wanting. As quickly as one goal is scored, we've gotten another one down the other end. Exile jumping to the backboard, does not leave the backboard in time enough to make that connection with the ball. Ultimately whiffs it, drops down in front of Diggs, easy goal.
And now with only a 1-goal differential and a lot of time on the clock, if Griffith is going to hold on to this lead, I feel like they're going to need at least 1, if not 2 more goals. We'll see what New South Wales, though, can bring. We'll see if that, has maybe sobered them up a bit. Although that defense, again, looks kind of shaky. Tadagane, another miss.
We know that last game just goes to show that both teams are able to hold each other out in defense for quite a long period of time. So Griffith, if I were any of these Griffith players right now, I would be fighting for my life to make sure, do what I can to make sure UNSW cannot get another goal on the board. They need to be careful, UNSW, how high they're pushing up in defense. Now is not the time for that super high third man push.
No, it is not, but at that same token, they've got to find some way, I imagine, to kind of force that goal. Confidence in spades for Griffith, or is it there? Oh my goodness, the angle not through, but Steve will clean it up. Tadagane went for something special.
Gets the angle from Tadagane here as well to get that read, but also Steve coming in from behind the ball to just get that touch very, very lightly and make sure he didn't send it out of net as well. It was very impressive. Super goal, and very much needed at that moment. So a tie game, and that 2-0 lead that Griffith, exploded out in front with here in this 4th game. Well, now it's all tied up, and doesn't look like they're done yet, because here comes New South Wales one more time. Diggs won't get the dunk. Unfortunately, was not able to get that, but here's that weakness of UNSW Formal that we've been talking about, that Mac brought up before. The super high third net push, that defensive, their lack of defense sometimes, their rotations back not as quick. Tada came up to challenge the ball, realized he was going to get beaten, tried to switch it up and turn back around in time, but got demoed, lost the shot as well, and we've got Griffith back in front.
Yeah, and that was the exact response that we kind of needed to see from Griffith, because it looked like momentum was really sliding away from them. Now they have a chance to make it 4 as they're on the attack. That pinch not quite accurate. It's a little bit desperate, but I like the attempt nonetheless. Either way, here comes Steve. Tadagane, middle of the field right now, might get a chance. Unless Steve does it himself off the defender, it's a tie game.
Oh no, Formal, we haven't had, I don't think we've had a single own goal tonight, but Steve just forcing that onto Ultraviolet's nose, causing the own goal. I would
That's
be
a
so
Steve goal. He gets one every series, Morgie. There is our certified Steve goal of the night.
Absolutely, what am I saying? Not an own goal, that's a Steve goal for sure.
Crazy read. Nonetheless, it only ties things up, and we got 100 seconds still to go here. Let's see what this... Oh, Griffith's second bring an unfortunate, unforced error. It's not going to get punished. Defense out of sorts. A chance. Oh, but no one from Griffith there to capitalize. Ultraviolet wants to go across to Exile. Diggs will get the free touch. Where do they go with it? Straight down the middle, looking for Tadagane. Delicate backward. Where is Steve? Oh, they run into Diggs instead.
That was almost the most incredible redirect read from UNSW as well. Tada now sending the ball to the backboard. Defenders kind of getting a little bit messy, kind of double committing, can't get the clear they're exactly wanting here. Tada with a pass off the side while Steve jumping a little bit too early. Diggs challenging as well. There's chaos in the midfield, but somehow Griffith have come out of it unscathed.
That they have, and now they have a chance! It's a dunk! No, it's a little bit to the left. I thought AOC may have had the angle. A bit unfortunate there from Griffith. Although, it doesn't look like New South Wales is faring much better, at least not initially. 40 seconds left in regulation, Morgie, or we could be going to another OT.
Oh my god, I think there's a chance that I think that for sure there's an absolute chance that we're going to OT here, but Tana looking for a double as well! Finds Steve, XL gets the save though. Finds Diggs, Steve sending the ball back up into the air with a 50. ADOS with possession though, makes the whiff. XL gets the pass into the corner. We've seen a center, but it's going back down the other end! Straight into net! Our first full field goal of the night as well, and it happens with 12 seconds left on match point for Griffith. That is insane.
Tadagane was there to redirect if required, but everybody from Griffith in desperation pushes forward. Now 12 seconds on the clock to make the kickoff goal happen. Ultraviolet gets past 2. Now Steve has to make a read. Exile swings and misses, but so too does the defense. Nobody can touch the ball. 2 seconds remaining. It's all on Exile for the touch. But where is the follow-up? Tadagane doesn't have the boost. Ultraviolet, open net. Down he goes. We are tied and going into overtime.
Oh, those whiffs coming out of UNSW. Every single UNSW player with the ball just then. Not once, twice. Gave possession back to Griffith with no time left on the scoreboard. They've equalised. We're going into OT. This is the grand final.
Yeah, here we go. Griffith needing the goal to stay alive. New South Wales, a goal to win this tournament. Diggs up in the sky. Gonna drop it down. Ultraviolet got that 0-second goal. Now is pushing up into the corner through the backboard. Here comes Exile, and it is in. We go to game 5.
Oh my god, I thought this was game over. I thought it was GG's. UNSW, what has happened? They are falling apart right now in defense. Griffith taking advantage of the scramble. They have not been swept today, not tonight. We are going to game 5.
The third game all season, New South Wales drops, and of course, it is the first in their hopeful run to secure this title. Griffith are going to put 5 more minutes on the clock. They're going to keep fighting, but my goodness, where was Tadagane game 4, Morgie? Invisible comparatively from what we've seen in the past.
Absolutely nowhere, not where he needed to be. Formal. Take a guess at my heart rate right now. Take a guess at the number on my watch right now.
That's got to be up in the 100s, I imagine.
120.
Woo!
I am living for this game right now. This is an insane grand final. That was almost a sweep. I'm lost for words right now.
Well, a 0-second goal to take things into OT and then to pull it off to keep themselves alive. Yeah, I don't understand why anyone's heart rate would be high after that either way. Job's not done. Ultraviolet gets the first goal. Griffith continuing on with their momentum. That's 3 unanswered.
Did somebody say reverse sweep? Is anybody in the chat seeing this? Are we calling a reverse sweep? I think it's not the furthest stretch anymore. I did say last game that it was the teeniest, tiniest, minute little chance that we would see a reverse sweep, but oh my god, I think it's looking all the more likely.
I mean, we'll see how it comes through. I know there's been some people in chat calling for it. The Griffith win at least. Not so sure about the reverse sweep. A shout out to Worthy, who's been there this entire time, cheering this side on. Maybe, just maybe, Griffith can put something together. I mean, it's still so difficult to win one game, let alone win another 3. And you can see already Diggs putting threatening touches on Tadagane now. Slow and steady, pass across to Steve, wanting to go backward, but the shot's a little bit wide. Where is Diggs? They're going to have to try to slow down Ultraviolet, and they do get the touch.
Diggs almost being a little bit cautious there, playing that slightly more reserved third man that we've said that UNSW could use sometime. But ultimately, you're right, wasn't there for the shot either. Tada looking for another double, can't quite get it. We're going to see Diggs come in as well, couldn't get the touch either. Steve managing to keep the ball alive, but gets blocked midair. It's going to be Griffith's possession again.
We'll see what they can bring as we go into that corner. ADOS wants to go across to Ultraviolet. Shots on off the backboard. No. Unable to seal the deal. Now Steve is going to try to bring it up across Tadagane. Back over to Steve.
Oh,
That's got to go in, I feel. A rare miss out of Steve.
yeah, it just went a little bit too high there. Maybe didn't expect the pass back from Tada. Thought Tada may have shot the ball instead. But nonetheless, we have seen a miss from Steve. UNSW are on the back foot this game. We've got 3 minutes left. There's still plenty of time, but we've had some very low-scoring games this series.
That we have. ADOS back to exile. Wants to break a play off that top backboard, but unable to stay with it. But now we're going to come back up the other way. Steve with the demo. Net looks semi-open. Flick on, but ADOS is there, and we'll clear it back the other way.
Looking very dangerous right now for UNSW. They're just being completely shut off. They can't do anything to score. Tana looking for a shot now. Ultraviolet makes it back in time. Ball's going to go back down the other end, but Diggs there to make the save.
Here we go, Diggs. Can't get it over the top of ADOS. Exile wants to go to the corner as well. Here we go, ADOS. One dribble, but not a second or third. Instead, it's going to be Steve now coming back up the other way. Halfway through this game, Morgie Griffith, a fantastic job staying in the lead. They've only allowed, well, 2 shots from New South Wales, but it's the third that counts. We're tied.
That was a great pass from Diggs as well. If I was a defender seeing that, I would have assumed that Diggs would take the shot, but instead looked for Tada, who managed to put the ball into that right corner, gets it past all the defenders. This is looking like a better game from UNSW than last game.
Yeah, it really has been strong so far. Here we go. Ball across the middle. Miss from Ultraviolet. Open net now, but the ball doesn't go. Tadagane saves Steve's shot.
No, there's no way. If UNSW lose this game and it rides on that save just there from Tada, that would be a real shame. Tada being Steve's biggest enemy right now. This is crazy.
It was a 2v0 open net, and they missed it in the worst way possible, Morgie. This time it goes through. A bit of redemption for New South Wales as they take the lead.
A little bit of reprieve as well as Diggs finds Steve on the pass downfield there. Steve sending the shot into what I can only call as an open net. No defenders in sight there to protect it. This is looking better from UNSW. Griffith are starting to panic that little bit. They can't hold the lead.
Oh?
Never mind. Talking to every time I say that. Every time I say that.
I think everyone in chat who is rooting for Griffith just wants you to keep talking him up right now because it has been on point. Morgie, the secret Griffith supporter, cursing again. New South Wales on the back foot. 100 seconds left in regulation. Next goal could take this game. Griffith still fighting for their tournament life here. Demo opens up the net. Steve crosses up the defense, and it's New South Wales in the lead.
A demo from Diggs taking the defender Exile out of net there. A nice little pop from Steve to get it over over who was that last defender as well? That was ADOS, I think. Coming in super fast there. Steve recognized that the defender had a lot of momentum, just needed to get a slight pop over him, break some ankles and send the ball into net. UNSW now up by a goal.
What can they do with this lead? Backboard Tadagane looking to set up somebody, but sets up Exile instead, who clears it back to the blue side of the pitch. Now Ultraviolet, too slow, no boost, couldn't make the read. Tadagane was there. Steve, too far forward. Ultraviolet tries to stay on the play. There's pressure coming from Griffith. They want that goal, but they don't get it straight away.
A minute left, still some time for them to do some damage here and keep themselves alive in this game, in this series. Diggs taking the ball to the roof, gets a pinch off the roof, sends it to the backboard. Steve and Tata not there, prepared to take the shot though. The ball is still in UNSW's half. We've got a nice block off Tata as well, but Ultraviolet there for the clear.
Yeah, as we see more pressure coming from the New South Wales side now. The clears, I mean, they're not strong enough out of Griffith, and with half a minute remaining, Morgie, will they get one last chance, or can New South Wales just hold on to the end?
It's looking like UNSW is parking the bus a little more here. We've seen some crazy attempts on there. Ultraviolet almost getting an own goal there. Tata taking it back
To
upfield.
Steve.
On Steve. Tata, what again? Blocking
Again! That's
Again?
twice! That's twice Tadagane has kept it alive, and now Griffith, 0 seconds. They did it before. Can they do it one more time? This time, the ball goes the other way, and it is all hands on deck on defense. New South Wales secures the tournament. They're gonna win this one. Series score 4-1.
A well-deserved win, our champs this season, with a clean sheet throughout the season as well. Massive, massive props to this side. They are an incredible team. But to Griffith as well, managing to keep themselves alive in this series was incredible. That was the most exciting game I've ever casted. That was amazing the way they managed to stay alive just that little bit longer. But ultimately, it's gone the way of UNSW. Congratulations to this incredible team.
Yeah, I mean, hats off, congratulations, New South Wales. 3 individual game losses an entire season. So that is 7 best of 5s. Had a couple, 2 best of 7s on top of that, and they only lost 3 individual games. Like, insane when you think about it, but they got it done. Championship, well-deserved for them, so they're going to be happy when it's all said and done right there. And, I mean, you know, for this team, second season in a row where they've looked like absolutely far and away the best team in the AEL. Second season in a row they've beaten Griffith in the finals, as it turns out. I have to wonder, you know, when does this team slow down?
I don't think it's as much as when does this team slow down as to when do the other teams pick up a little bit more in terms of training, in terms of scrims, in terms of everything all important. I think it's only a matter of time.
Well, you know what? We're now here to celebrate. We have Diggs on camera joining us for an interview. First and foremost, Diggs, congratulations. A fantastic season. Undefeated, only 3 game losses. How does it feel now it's all said and done?
Yeah, it's great. Great way to end my last season playing AEL.
That's right. This is your last season. I totally forgot about that just now.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about just everything at the moment? Finishing up.
Yeah, it's a great way to end it. Couldn't ask for much more, to be honest. With Zen coming in, it'll be even tougher for the rest of the teams. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. But yeah, it feels great.
I mean, I want to ask about that last game in particular. 2 things. First of all, what were the comms like with a 2v0 open net? Because you weren't there. This was a Steven Tadagane play. But it looked like Steven Tadagane breakaway open net. Tadagane makes the save. Were there any comms there, and what was that like?
We were just laughing at him, to be honest. Like I I think Steve did the same thing last week, where he just blocked an open net. So we tend to do that a lot, it seems. But yeah, I mean, we kind of just laughed it off.
Fair enough. And
kept going.
And then I guess the follow up: at what stage did you guys realize, okay, we've got this? We've won it. Game over in that 5th game.
In the 5th game,
yeah.
To be honest, I don't think we ever thought we had it for sure. Because the previous game, we thought we had it, and then we managed to lose that. So you can never be too sure. But yeah.
I was going to say, when did the nerves spike? Was it in that previous game? Obviously, the 0-second goal, the OT from Griffith, that was massive props to them. They did incredibly well to keep themselves alive. Were you guys feeling quite nervous at that point?
Not particularly. Yeah, because, I mean, we kind of let our foot off the gas a little bit in that 4th game. So that's kind of where we kind of slipped. But we knew that if we just played how we were playing earlier, then we'd be fine. So we didn't really have any sort of problems with nerves or anything.
So now that AEL is done, you're graduating, moving on, out on top. Do you just uninstall Rocket League right now? Is it? It doesn't get any higher than this. Let's uninstall it. Or do we stay with it and do we see you in other events in the future?
It's probably not a bad idea, to be honest. But if the RLCS keeps paying for top 64s, then I think I might have to keep getting those $100 for every qualifier or whatever. It's pretty good money, so may as well.
All right, I guess then as well, with their last chance here on the AEL, ending with the win. Any shout-outs, anyone you'd like to thank? You've done this a couple times, I feel like, but let's do it one more time. Who do you want to thank for not just this season, but every season you've had here at the AEL?
Yeah, sure. So first, I'd like to thank Kazi and Vision, our 2 subs, because they've had to be on standby for a good chunk of these games, just in case Steve DCs like he has in the past. So Kazi, as you know, but also Vision from the Open Series team. He's been on standby quite a few times as well. Also Muffin, our manager, for all the work he's done for us. Tata and Steve, obviously, for the carry. And just you guys, Formal, Morgie, Jake, BK, and everyone else behind the scenes that just makes this event happen.
We appreciate having you here throughout the entirety of it all as well. We'll leave you go on this note to go celebrate, go graduate, and go on and live your best life. And who knows, maybe we'll see you in some of those RLCS qualifiers.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. So there you have it. New South Wales, most dominant season to date of the Elite Series. This is how they did it, Morgie. 4-0, 4-1. No doubt in pretty much anybody's mind.
Yeah, I think given the season they've had, given their previous performance in other seasons as well, this team was definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I think a lot of the teams in this league were expecting that. There were some exciting moments where we did see some cracks. I think we do see that with any team, even RLCS teams, to the top RLCS teams. Everyone has their bad days. But for UNSW, a bad day was dropping a single game, not a series at all. They've absolutely deserved to be our champions here.
That they did. But that said, it wasn't like, there wasn't some fight in this one. That game 4 will go down in memory for sure. So we're going to have a word with ADOS right now from the Griffith side. And first of all, condolences on the loss. Obviously not the result you were looking for, but I have to imagine there were some high highs, particularly that 4th game in the series.
Certainly, yeah. So we knew they were a strong team coming into it, undefeated, and we versed in the grand finals last season. So, we were definitely expecting a hard game, but I think we started playing really well, especially more towards the end after that 0-second goal and the overtime goal. we had high hopes, but yeah, they were just better in the end. They definitely deserved the win. So GG's to them.
No, that fourth game was so exciting. So thank you for that. That was incredibly impressive how you guys managed to keep the ball alive at 0 seconds, to take advantage of the OT as well. So I just want to say massive props for that. I think you guys you're one of the teams I really respect for the way you adapt in game as well. Did you have any clear game plan going into this series? Because obviously UNSW have been so strong throughout the season. Were there any particular tactics you were looking at?
We had some tactics, but it's really hard to do it in game. Like, theory is always so much more difficult to practical. So our game plan going into it was trying to keep the ball close, take 50s, and because they're very mechanical in the air. Like, there was one shot where Diggs went off the roof and 0 boost, and then Tata just flew in with full boost and took it into the goals. And so we try to keep them out of the air, try and challenge as soon as possible, and then just keep it close to us, and more ground plays, more passing plays. And it was our theory going into it. At least it didn't work out exactly like that, but we got one more game off of them than last season, so must have done something better, I guess.
Fair shout on that one. I have to ask as well, not to bring up a particularly bad memory, but there was one goal in particular. Steve, off your backboard, throws it straight into Ultraviolet, and what looked like was an intentional play to play off the diving defender. How much of that do you put on, obviously as a teammate, you're not going to throw any blame on Ultraviolet, but putting yourself maybe in their position, how much of that would you have put on yourself, or how much of that do you realize, no, that's just Steve doing something crazy?
It was just he didn't see the Steve gets the extra touch of the backboard and just threw it off, and he probably would have had a nice clear if it wasn't for Steve's extra little touch. So we kind of just summarize it down to unlucky, which is unlucky guys, don't worry about it, move on. Hopefully we'll get a lucky goal back, and not calling it a lucky goal, Steve's touch is very good, but we're just hoping that a 50 goes in our favor or something like that. But we don't criticize, or I wouldn't put it on myself. I feel bad own goalie, of course, but we just kind of summarize it down to unlucky.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good mentality to have. You just have to kind of go next when those kind of things happen, and they do happen from time to time. We've definitely seen worse own goals. I would hardly call that an own goal. We've seen plenty worse. And apologies for this, because I tend to lose track of who's graduating and who's not. But how is the team shaping up for next season?
So none of us are graduating. So I've got one more year left. So next 2 seasons I'll be good for, and then after that I'm done. I think Cheeky will be. We didn't have a sub this season. So it was all of us, just XR, UV, and me. We got lucky a little bit with some holidays and stuff going down in Melbourne, and we're just able to make it back. But just having that sub, I think, will definitely help us out mentally as well. So Cheeky will be joining us back probably for sub. We might get some fresh blood in as well, maybe try them out. But so XR, UV, and me will definitely be most likely the core roster for next season, but we'll see how we go.
So last question in regards for upcoming seasons then. On the rumor mill, you heard it in the interview before, New South Wales, Steve and Tadagane probably staying. It's Diggs being replaced by Zen. How do you feel about, getting over that hurdle, knowing that possible lineup is happening for New South Wales in the future?
Well, I guess we'll take it as we cross that bridge. Of course, UNSW get such a good player, so I don't know. It'll just be more good games to look forward to. Hopefully, we can give them a run for their money, and we'll see how we go next season. Maybe we'll get some prodigy in joining our uni next year, something like that. So we'll see how we go.
Prompt is high school age. Maybe he can talk about getting that early scholarship.
I'll talk to our manager and see if we can offer him esports scholarship or something.
Either way, last interview, last question. Any shout outs? Anyone you'd like to thank? Again, we've asked you this before. You know the routine by now, but last chance to do it for 2024.
Just thank you to all the teams. Very good season. Everyone played very well. Props to UNSW. Thank you to all the organisers and the casters. You guys did a really good job putting on this whole event. It was very fun. Great thing to look forward to every week. And just teammates as well, just giving support and bouncing off each other. And yeah, we had a really good season, really fun season, and we'll look forward to next year's season as well. So we'll see you then.
See
Fingers crossed.
you then, I'm sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Ados.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And with that, another season comes to its end, Morgie. And I mean, upon reflection, look, it's always a little sad to come up that final step short. Griffith, though, taking it in stride, obviously. I mean, the team has to be proud. Back-to-back finals for them. Really well done. And I think, honestly, a bit of a surprise for that lineup. I mean, they're not going to say it's a surprise, but when you looked at it on paper, I think they overperformed twice in a row. And now we can't doubt them anymore. They are a top 2 team.
Absolutely. I feel like, yeah, there was that doubt here and there. Not so much because, not so much the doubt.
I was the hater. I'll admit it. I'll raise my hand. I was the hater.
I was going to say, not so much the doubt placed on Griffith, but just how tight the other teams were, how close on their heels they were. And Griffith, they had their bad weeks. They did, like everybody else. But I have to agree with how they played tonight. They are absolutely deserving of that top 2 spot. UON, QUT, congratulations as well on making it through to the semis, but I feel like Griffith absolutely deserved to be here tonight.
That they did, and well done to them. But now, Morgie, there's some more people that we need to thank as well.
Of course, we can't forget that. None of this is possible without our fantastic sponsors, so we're very grateful for them. But first of all, we have AGON by AOC, the Gaming Monitor partner, who provide the best in-class monitor solutions for gaming and all other needs. And if you're hungry, kind of like us right now, it's getting a little bit late, and I think neither Formal or I have had dinner at this point, so we'll be jumping on that shortly. But we have Indomie, the noodle partner, made with high-quality flour and select ingredients and spices. A plate of Indomie mee goreng will certainly brighten up your day. Try any one of the flavors available today at your local grocer, or of course, you can order online. Go to indomie.com.au. That sounds good right now.
Yeah, it sounds so good right now. It's probably going to be my dinner. Of course, don't forget to follow the socials as well at AEL. You can find them on, all the usual places, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your Facebooks. They're out there. Stay up to date for all upcoming events. There's, a lot of fun stuff right around the corner. Just because these seasons are done doesn't mean the live events are done as well. So hopefully you can go out there, get involved, and hey, it's not too early to sign up as well for, next year. I mean, start thinking, start planning ahead. There's going to be high school events happening all throughout November as well, so definitely a lot of fun here. But look, on that note, Morgie, it's time to say goodnight for another great AEL season. It was shouted out before. Shout out to Jake, held down the fort, in past weeks, as well as Matsy, Angry Man, as well, doing his job behind the scenes, admitting. All the players got to interact with him. You didn't get to see him, but you did get to see the input of BK, our producer, throughout this entire event. Morgie, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm sure we're going to be working again in the near future. And on that note, good night, everybody. Please be your best self, both on and off the pitch, and we'll see you next season.
you.